1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Bill O'Reilly here, and I'm warming up. Stand by for the O'Reilly Update Morning Edition. But first, many timeshare owners are very upset because their yearly dues have nearly doubled. Well, Lone Star will guarantee the release of all liability to your timeshare in writing and in a specific time frame. With their A-plus rating at the Better Business Bureau, clients know that Lone Star Transfer is a company you can trust. For a free consultation, please go to LoneStarTransfer.com or call 855-551-7066. On this Friday comes word that the airlines will be price gouging over the holiday travel season. And why not? The Department of Transportation, led by the always energetic Pete Buttigieg, lets the plane companies do pretty much what they want. And what they want is to provide terrible service at the highest price possible. In most other industries, that strategy would lead to failure. Customers would go elsewhere. But we cannot do that in many travel situations because flying options are limited in the unfriendly skies. Now, the feds are supposed to oversee the situation to make sure travelers don't get hosed. But Pete will not do that, and no one can make him. So, we customers pay good money to be tortured, at least in many cases. In December, it snows in much of America. The airlines often cannot get off the ground if it's cloudy. So do the math. So far this year, more than 100,000 flights have been canceled in the USA. 100,000. And a Merry Christmas to all. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to hitch a ride on Santa's sleigh. Back after this. No question, there is a concerted effort to intimidate and silence conservative thinkers and replace our God-given individual liberty with big government controls. AMAC, the Association of Mature American Citizens, is the leading conservative advocacy and benefits organization in America. AMAC gives you access to exclusive benefits and all kinds of great content. Please stand with AMAC at amac.us. That's amac.us. That is the Morning O'Reilly Update. More analysis later on.
From the News Talk STL Weather Center.
It's a chilly morning out there under clear skies. Some of the outlying areas could get near freezing, but another windy day on tap with a red flag warning for fire danger. 71 the high under partly cloudy skies. 40s tonight, a cold morning tomorrow again. 65 degrees on Saturday, 67 on Sunday. Not as windy over the weekend, and a chance for a widespread freeze early next week across the area. I'm KMOV First Alert meteorologist Kent Earhart.
News, analysis, opinion. Watch us on our live stream using Rumble, Facebook, and Twitter. What's happening today? Here's your first dose of the news you need to know. This is Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
How do we restore some integrity? How do we restore some fiscal sanity? How do we restore some transparency to the St. Louis County government? Man, that is a big question, and part of that answer is going to happen
based on who we elect in November. Good morning. Happy Friday. I'm Mike Ferguson. These elections are so important, and the St. Louis County government, I've said this a number of times, this doesn't just affect St. Louis County. This affects the entire region, which is why the race for county executive is so important. And in particular, the race for the 3rd district on the county government is also crucial. We had an interesting conversation with Dennis Hancock. He is running to replace Tim Fitch, whose home was drawn out of the district, so he can't run for re-election. But Dennis Hancock is a Republican running to replace Tim Fitch. Dennis is going to be up against former state representative Vicki England. And here's what Dennis had to say regarding some of the specifics about what county government should be doing differently. A lot of attention on the Mark Mantovani versus Sam Page race, but there's also a very important race in the county council, and that is an open seat in that 3rd district because Tim Fitch is not running for re-election because the district boundary lines drew him out of the district. Okay? And so now it's going to be a face-off between former state representative Vicki England and Dennis Hancock, who is a former mayor of Fenton. And Dennis joins us right now. Dennis, good to have you back on the program. I want to get into, I think, the biggest story that we've seen in the last week here. If you're elected, you're going to be dealing with a tens of millions of dollars budget shortfall. Because of reckless spending by, obviously there's a Democratic majority in Sam Page's stuff. But when you look at the budget you're going to have to deal with, what are the priorities that need to be in place, and how do you plan to deal with that sort of budget shortfall that's just going to land in your lap if you win?
Well, first of all, thanks for having me on, Mike. I appreciate it. This isn't unlike the situation we faced in Fenton when I was the mayor when Chrysler closed. Chrysler represented about 15% of our city's income. And so we had to look at what were we spending our money on and what could we reduce, what could we do without, and we frankly didn't even consider looking at the income side of it. We looked strictly at the expense side of the ledger. And so we went through methodically, virtually line by line in our budget and said, okay, this line says it's $1,000. Can we make do with $750? And in working with our department heads, working with staff, working with all of our interested stakeholders, we were able to find 15% to cut out of our budget without reducing services on essential services anyway.
Good morning, Dennis. Gabe Pfeiffer here. Crime and safety are another major aspect of what's going on in St. Louis County. Is there anything legislatively that you have your eye on that could help shore up public safety?
Yeah, I think one of the things, and again, I'll point to my experience as a mayor, we had a severe methamphetamine problem in Fenton, probably 15 years ago, where folks were coming into our retail establishments, Walgreens and Walmarts and Target and places like that, and just grabbing an armful of Sudafed and running out of the store. We got together with the county police. We got together with other law enforcement who were involved in the drug war, as well as the retailers and all the other interested parties, and came together with them, put together a plan to address it, and we became the first city in Missouri to pass legislation that required those types of pseudoephedrine-containing products to go behind the counter. Didn't need a prescription, didn't need to sign anything for them, but it got them out of arm's reach. And as a result, the methamphetamine problem went away in Fenton. So I think we need to take a holistic view of crime. I think we need to do something similar, bring all of the interested parties together, the law enforcement as well as those social services agencies and others and victims of crime too, to make sure that we're taking a comprehensive look at the problem and then address the problem. And then probably the most important thing is when we come up with a solution to make sure that it's fully funded.
On the countywide level, Sam Page was quoted the other day as saying, well, he thinks when it comes to crime, the county's going in the right direction, which is a surprise to a lot of people in the county. How do you assess where the county is right now in relation to violent crime and property crime, whether it's originating in the county, originating in the city, and coming to the county? How do you assess where we are?
Well, I don't have to assess it. I believe Joe Holloman in today's Post-Dispatch did an article that said that St. Louis, once again, is the number one crime city in the country. So I think that that's where we stand. And I don't know what color the sky is in Sam Page's world, but by the people I talk to, crime is the number one issue in this campaign. They don't feel safe. People don't feel safe when they go out. They don't feel safe in their homes. Their cars are getting broken into on their driveways. And the county executive has shown absolutely no leadership on this issue at all. And that's where I think, someone like Mark Mantovani, who has actual executive experience, and knows how to be a leader, can help lead the county through these dark times and come out the other side in a much better place.
Morning, Dennis. This is Ken. The county council, sometimes it seems like they're lacking in transparency, not necessarily the county council itself, but the Sam Page administration. How would you be able to contribute to making it more transparent?
Well, one of the things that I always prided myself on during my 12 years as mayor was the fact that there was no hint of a scandal during my administration. We were very upfront with our residents. I put out information every month in our city's newsletter about what was going on, what my views on particular issues were, what I was doing about them. And I think you have to do that. You have to over-communicate with people and let them know what your thoughts are and so that they can at least have some idea of what's happening. When you look at what's going on now with the records at the health department in the animal control section that have been destroyed because of an insect infestation, well, come on. If you're going to come up with an excuse, at least make it one that's believable. But the fact that it just happened to include the documentation that was needed for some lawsuits that are pending against the county. It was just apparently an unfortunate coincidence.
Right. Yeah, we're visiting with Dennis Hancock, who's running for that 3rd district seat. I want to get into the question about the balance of, I guess, ideology that's so crucial in your race. But let me come back to the money for a second. Some updates on how money is being saved up and invested regarding the Rams, the NFL, and there's still negotiations on who's going to get what from that. But what should the county be doing differently or better when it comes to negotiating for that money, and where should that money be prioritized once this entire mess is settled?
Well, I think that first thing we have to keep in mind is this is taxpayer money we're talking about. This isn't Sam Page's money. This isn't the county council's money. This is the taxpayers' money. So what can we do to get the most benefit to the most taxpayers? Crime is a huge issue. There are the things that we can take that money, spend it on to help alleviate the crime issue. We've got roads in St. Louis County, and especially in the unincorporated areas, that are falling apart. People can't drive their cars over them. So I think that we need to really look at what are our infrastructure needs. This is a one-time shot of capital. So let's figure out the best way to spend that capital on projects that are needed to make our county a better place. And, maybe in the process, if we make it safer with better infrastructure, maybe we can start keeping some of the businesses that are migrating away from St. Louis County, keep them home. Yeah, and even attract some new ones.
Yeah, that was a whole other thing. At some point, we got to get into is trying to bring businesses back and stop driving them out the way Sam Page has. I've just got time for one more question. Dennis Hancock, running for that 3rd district seat. I know Vicki England. She's been in the state legislature. She's obviously very going to be outspokenly an ally of Sam Page if he is, God forbid, reelected. So tell me about the crucial aspect of that 3rd district seat. Moving away from, a Sam Page ally if he's reelected, which I hope he's not. Tim Fitch, obviously, very strongly pushing against Sam Page. Tim Fitch isn't going to be there. How crucial is this 3rd district seat in particular on the county council?
Well, I think it's absolutely critical. Tim, Mark Harder, And the two Democrats from North County have formed this alliance, if you will, to try to keep Sam Page from doing some of the more harmful things that he's wanted to do. And they've been successful up till now in doing that. If I lose this race, it really doesn't matter who the county executive is, because they will have this wall of liberalism stacked against them. Vicki has made it very clear that she's going to vote however Sam Page tells her to vote if he's the county executive and she's in this chair. So in order to maintain that balance, we have to have a conservative voice on the council to replace Tim Fitch's very able conservative voice.
All right.
And I'm that person.
All right, Dennis, what's the website or social media people can find you?
DennisHancock.org.
Easy enough. All right, Dennis, appreciate the update on the campaign.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
At 6:35, outgoing County Councilman Tim Fitch is going to be with us. Also, just after 7 o'clock, our friends at Americans for Prosperity. They've got a lot of investment into some of the state legislative races right here in the St. Louis area. We'll get their take on why these races matter so much and, frankly, how you can get involved if you want. That's all still ahead this morning right here on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL. But in 4 minutes, we've got your daily news roundup to kick things off.
Let's get the day started right. This is Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
St. Louis, it's Joe Pags. Proud to be part of the News Talk STL lineup. Every weeknight from 7 to 10, we'll get together to talk about what's going on. News, analysis, opinion. You won't hear anything like it in St. Louis. The Joe Pags Show, every weeknight at 7 on News Talk STL. Welcome home.
Hey, Tony Colombo here for the great team at All Solutions Pest Control. All Solutions is the pest control company Christine and I trust with our home because they don't cut corners and they take the time and use the best products available to help protect your home at the highest level possible. Call All Solutions Pest Control today at 636-486-7888 and learn more about our special $67 introductory offer or visit us online at allsolutionspestcontrol.com.
If a pest-free home is your goal, call All Solutions Pest Control.
What if everything you thought and believed to be true about owning and buying your home turned out to be wrong?
Straightforward, objective advice on the right way to make the most out of every dollar you put into your home.
We're the only country that has one of those. Most other countries, considering like Canada, the UK, they don't have long-term fixed-rate mortgages like that. They're all variable-rate mortgages.
HomeWise with Michael Midget, Sunday mornings at 9 on News Talk STL. So many ways to listen to News Talk STL.
Join the conversation. All you have to do is say,
Hey Alexa, play News Talk STL.
Welcome to News Talk STL, conservative talk radio for St. Louis.
Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019. Having your first cup of coffee? Mike's on his third. This is Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
Happy Friday, y'all. By the way,
Happy Friday.
That's right. By the way, to those who are watching us online, Facebook, or you're watching us on Rumble or on YouTube, I just put it out on Rumble. I said, hey, check in. Where are you watching us or listening to us from? I'd love to find out where he is. I'm just kind of curious. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. So for those of you on Rumble, and I'm pointing at you right now on the camera, hey, let us know. Just go in the chat box and let us know where you are listening to us, where you are right now.
Because we have people from Atlanta.
Yep.
Where else? Florida, Georgia, and there's a couple more, but those they're regulars.
In addition to all the people obviously in the St. Louis area. But it's kind of cool. I love Rumble. Rumble has put us in front of so many different people, and even if YouTube had not thrown News Talk STL station off of their platform, now we're on as far as like the show is on, but News Talk got thrown off.
Right.
But honestly, Rumble is so much better than YouTube.
Yeah.
Especially for conservative media. So yeah, just check in. Love to see where everybody is listening to us from. All right, a few things that we're going to get to today. We got the official reminder on Thursday, in case you'd forgotten. I don't think you had. Inflation still sucks, and it's getting worse. And the left just doesn't seem to understand why this is happening.
I don't know.
How is this possible? They're doing everything they can. Please stop doing what you can. Also, advocates for a less secure election, well, they lose in court, and they vow to continue their effort to repeal some common sense rules for voting in Missouri. We'll get to that here in just a few minutes. And there is a completely predictable response to Roe versus Wade being overturned. And that is, get ready to gasp in horror, Ken, an increase in personal responsibility.
What?
Yeah. And it's actually being framed in some of the media as a hardship on people.
Amazing.
Wow.
That's where we're at today, though.
Oh, I know.
The nanny state.
Just insane. All right, we'll do that. We'll get to that one more, probably closer to the 7 o'clock hour. President Biden took time during his West Coast trip to address Thursday morning's Consumer Price Index report, looking at what happened in September, which showed worse than expected 8.2% inflation last month compared to the year earlier, and the month over month was also up a little bit as well. More from Fox News' Gernal Scott.
The president, speaking in Los Angeles Thursday, said people know they are still gripped by inflation.
Folks don't need to be a report to tell them they're being squeezed.
But he insists the numbers are getting better.
Overall, inflation was 2% over the last 3 months. That's down from 11% over the prior 3 months.
Republicans continue to blame President Biden, saying his assessment inflation peaked late last year was wrong. Biden says he remains optimistic, and he'll have more to say on it next week. Gernal Scott, Fox News.
Yeah, so that happened. Anyway, we'll get to that a little bit later. At some point, you just have to shake your head and ask, are you listening to yourself? Or how long do you think you can hold on to the just bizarre narrative that I cannot imagine that there are even any Democrats out there who are definitely going to vote for Democrats who do not want Republicans to win. Even our Democratic friends, even you are looking around saying, yeah, this sucks. This sucks. We got to weather this one. There's no way you can argue, boy, things are getting better.
No way.
Good God.
I mean, he's changing the definition of inflation.
Your oatmeal's over here, Mr. Biden. Matlock is on at 3. We got your bed ready. Oh, jeez. All right. A Missouri judge rules against some liberal activists who want to repeal the state's voter ID law. Now, we mentioned, I think it was a month or two when this lawsuit was actually filed, and I think we did, and I think you and Vic talked to Jay Ashcroft about these lawsuits regarding the voter ID. So what happened is a very disingenuously named group called the Missouri Voter Protection Coalition, and then also the NAACP, filed a lawsuit against the voter ID saying it's voter oppression, it's unconstitutional, et cetera, kind of the same thing we hear at the congressional level. They say that they will appeal. Secretary of State Jay Ashcroft says the plaintiffs could not point to a single eligible voter who would be stopped from voting by the law. Just a minor detail on that.
Yeah, he mentioned that on our station. It's like, well, okay, then why are you people even existing? Because no one.
We know why.
Yeah, we do know
why.
Yeah.
So 6:05. Let's go into this a little more depth at 6:05 because Missouri's actually got some of the best laws regarding election integrity that were passed in, I guess they were earlier this year. There were some that were in 2021, but really 2022, once we got rid of those stupid COVID era exceptions for things, the legislation passed here really makes us one of the better states on the Missouri side for voter integrity.
Yeah.
Illinois, it's free for all, but we know it's going to happen there.
If you're registered, then you will vote.
Yes, absolutely. It's up to you. This was big news here. We're going to get this a little bit later on as well. Parents of victims in Parkland, Florida, in the school shooting there. Can you believe that was over 4 years ago that shooting happened?
Yeah.
Over 4 years ago.
Those people have been run through a gauntlet of anxiety and heartbreak. I mean, it's amazing what they've been through.
Yeah, and it's not ending just yet. They were in a courtroom yesterday listening to a jury recommendation that the killer who admits to killing everybody, and there's 17 people and injuring many more, that he is sentenced to life in prison, which is a disappointment for a lot of the parents. Fox News' Eben Brown is in Miami, and he has the story.
Weeks of testimony in a penalty phase trial for the admitted Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School gunman ended with a jury's finding for sentencing. The judge read it.
The jury unanimously find that the aggravating factors are sufficient to warrant a possible death sentence. Yes.
But she also read how at least one juror in each count did find the mitigating factors to outweigh the aggravating ones. And that means they recommend life in prison for Nicholas Cruz, not death. Victims' families were outraged. Ilan Aldahev's daughter, Alyssa, was killed at the school.
So that means that everyone that has a mental illness should go on a killing spree? That's what we're telling this society?
In Miami, Eben Brown, Fox News.
I mean, this is one of those areas where you want to empathize, but there's no way to wrap your brain around what the hell these parents have gone through.
This is what the death penalty is for.
Yeah, and here's the thing. I am absolutely conceptually a believer that the death penalty is an appropriate penalty for some things. Okay, very few, but for some things.
I agree.
I also generally don't trust the government to get it right, which is why I'm skeptical about the use of the death penalty right now. But in this case right here, there is no more clear-cut situation where the death penalty is appropriate and should be used.
Children dying.
This is exactly the kind of case that the death penalty is for. There's no question on this one.
Right.
It's not a matter of, he says, no, you got the wrong guy. He's like, no, I did it. Yeah. I mean, and his lawyers are like, but he's crazy. Yeah, we saw that because he killed all those people. But this is exactly what the death penalty is for. I've actually got the reaction from Governor Ron DeSantis that we're going to play a little bit later on as well. All right, a warning to rideshare drivers. If you're getting a job on the east side, the FBI, Illinois State Police say there's now a pattern of carjackings that target Uber and Lyft drivers. Here's what's happening. Fake profiles are being set up, and then they're luring the drivers to, frankly, some really lousy areas in East St. Louis, where then the robbery and the car theft happens. And, of course, they're fake profiles, so it's almost untraceable. And basically, Uber drivers thinking that they're going to make an extra however much you make on an Uber or Lyft drive. Instead, you get a gun to your face and you lose your car and you're left standing in East St. Louis. It's happened 7 times in East St. Louis alone since June. One driver was actually killed.
Yeah.
So I hate to say this because there's a lot of good people in East St. Louis who just need to ride somewhere because maybe they can't afford the gas or the car. But if you're an Uber or Lyft driver, I wouldn't even take a job. I wouldn't even take that request in East St. Louis.
And many say they don't. I saw a video on this, and one person made the mistake to me of saying, well, I only go to the Casino Queen if I go over there. Well, you know what? You shouldn't do that either because now they're going to go to the Casino Queen and say, hey, I need to be picked up. You know?
Yeah. So it's really frustrating. And this is one of those areas where it takes just a few people to ruin a service that the market has incentivized for everybody. But that's just the pattern that we're seeing. All right. This is an interesting side effect of Hurricane Ian. Unfortunate people who like orange juice. You like orange juice?
Oh, yeah.
I love orange juice. Fox News' Carmen Robert explains how the fallout from the hurricane is actually going to affect you for probably next year or so.
Orange juice prices are likely to rise, but unlike other inflationary pressures, you can blame this latest increase on Hurricane Ian. The Category 4 storm that slammed into the state last month damaged what was already forecast to be the lowest Florida orange crop in 55 years. The USDA says after Ian, orange production is down 32% from last season, making it the smallest crop since World War II. Carmen Roberts, Fox News.
So get the frozen stuff right now and just keep it.
Yeah, hang on to it.
Just ahead, let's talk election integrity and security. Some activists in Missouri don't like that.
The Range St. Louis West is all about safety. That's why training is a critical part of what we do. No one wants to be in a situation where seconds count, but help is minutes away. But if that day comes, are you ready? No matter what your firearm experience level is, we have courses and instructors that can help. The Range St. Louis West is the area's premier training facility, shooting range, and all things firearms retail facility. Check us out online at therangestl.com or stop by and visit with our professional staff. The Range St. Louis West. Are you ready?
Are you looking for the cheapest prices on car insurance? Then call the Cheap Car Insurance Hotline right now. Hey, you're guaranteed to save money on your car insurance. Most car insurances can be canceled at any time. That means if you find a better deal, you can switch right away. We're not just one company. We offer most of the major brands of car insurance. We're like a discount supermarket for car insurance. And it doesn't matter if you have a good record or a bad driving record. Our agents are experts at finding you the right car insurance for your needs. Our average customer saves hundreds of dollars a year when they call us to switch. So why don't you make this 100% free call right now and see how much you can save on your car insurance. Paid for by AIS Insurance.
800-721-5741. 800-721-5741. 800-721-5741. That's 800-721-5741.
Life insurance is one of those things that just about everybody needs, but few people actually have. Hey, if you die unexpectedly without life insurance, guess what? You'll leave your family with even a bigger mess. Life insurance will help replace your family's income. It'll help cover burial expenses. Life insurance can even help pay off debt like credit cards and medical bills. Life insurance can even pay for college. And if you own a business and you die, life insurance can help your business from collapsing. It can even help cover estate taxes. Life insurance has never been more affordable and needed. Plus, you can always shop around even if you have a plan and save some money. So call the Life Insurance Quote Line right now for free pricing information.
800-979-3060. 800-979-3060. 800-979-3060. That's 800-979-3060.
The Vic Porcelli Show.
She's a great conservative author, film producer, Nina May.
And I keep telling my liberal friends, I say, you think you're going to escape this? No, this is exactly what totalitarian governments do. They start with the low-hanging fruit, and then they're going to go after you because they can't trust you. No, we're going to have to line you guys up against the wall and shoot you.
Wow. You have liberal friends?
Vic Porcelli, live and local weekday mornings at 9 on News Talk STL. KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefontaine, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at NewstalkSTL.com.
And warning residents to stay inside while they searched for the shooter. Hours later, the suspect was arrested. Authorities say he opened fire along a walking trail near the residential area. An off-duty police officer was among those slain. 2 other people, including another police officer, were taken to hospitals. That officer was later released. I'm Lisa Dwyer.
2 police officers shot dead in Connecticut this week were drawn into an ambush by a 911 call about possible domestic violence. That's according to investigators. State police say the call about a dispute between 2 siblings appears to have been a deliberate act to lure law enforcement to the scene in Bristol. The Democrat-controlled January 6th committee has subpoenaed former President Trump for documents and testimony.
It is almost certain that Donald Trump will not testify. Already his spokesman has been dismissing this move as a partisan exercise.
That's correspondent Eric Tucker. The Supreme Court rejecting the former president's plea to step into the legal fight over the FBI search of his Florida estate. Mr. Trump had asked the court to overturn a lower court's ruling and allow a special master to review the roughly 100 documents with classified markings that were seized by the FBI. AAA following the rise of gas prices. The Auto Club's national average regular this morning, $3.90 a gallon. Dow futures up 117. More on these stories, townhall.com.
Relief Factor, pain relief that's natural, pain relief that works, and pain relief that attacks the source of the pain. That's the experience of tens of thousands of Americans who are taking Relief Factor right now. See their incredible video endorsements at relieffactor.com and then order your 3-week quick starter pack for just $19.95. That's less than $1 a day. Find out if it can work for you like it works for me by ordering your 3-week quick starter pack today. Relieffactor.com, relieffactor.com. Be the next success story.
Hi, my name's Adam Barada. I'm the owner of Advantage Gold, the highest rated precious metals firm in the country. Now, we've won the Best of TrustLink Award 4 years in a row because we educate our clients on how to buy gold and silver the right way. We don't pay celebrity spokespeople millions of dollars. We'd rather pass that value on to you. Call 800-900-8000 and speak with one of our experts. We'll send you a free gold kit along with my latest national best-selling book, The Great Devaluation. Call 800-900-8000. Call 800-900-8000.
South Korea tightening the screws on its communist neighbor to the north, and the South toughening sanctions on North Korea.
This latest round, announced by Seoul, targets more than 30 North Korean people and organizations. But they're unlikely to have much impact, as most are already covered by existing UN and US restrictions. But as North Korea continues to raise tensions on the peninsula, the South is running out of ways to respond. Last night, the North flew warplanes
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Traffic Center.
So far, our volume's light. Everything is moving just fine. A reminder for you that today they will reopen a ramp that's been closed for quite a while. It's the ramp from westbound 364 to eastbound 94 in St. Charles County. It will reopen after the morning rush. It's been closed since December of 2021, so that'll be nice to have. Otherwise, like we mentioned, all quiet. This report sponsored by Blindster. Need new blinds or shades? Blindster.com offers custom-made blinds, shades, and shutters shipped right to you at prices less than the big box retailers. Blindster blinds, easy to install, guaranteed to fit. Don't overpay for new blinds. Shop today and save big at Blindster.com. I'm Joe Sonderman with the latest from the News Talk STL Traffic Center.
From the News Talk STL Weather Center.
It's a chilly morning out there under clear skies. Some of the outlying areas could get near freezing, but another windy day on tap with a red flag warning for fire danger. 71 the high under partly cloudy skies. 40s tonight, a cold morning tomorrow again. 65 degrees on Saturday, 67 on Sunday. Not as windy over the weekend. And a chance for a widespread freeze early next week across the area. I'm KMOV First Alert Meteorologist Kent Gerhardt.
This hour of News Talk STL brought to you by All Solutions Pest Control, 636-486-7888, or visit them at allsolutionspestcontrol.com.
If a pest-free home is your goal, call All Solutions Pest Control.
I'm Dr. TJ, owner of the Institute of Natural Health, co-owner of Optimal Nutraceuticals, and the host of Wellness 101. Wellness 101 is designed to cut through the nonsense and provide you common sense, science-based information regarding health and wellness. On the show, we discuss topics like thyroid health, gut health, hormone optimization, and many others. Our show airs Saturdays at 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. and Sundays at 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. right here on News Talk STL. For more information, visit us at inhstl.com. That's inhstl.com.
Hey folks, Tim Jones here for Hanson's Tree Service. As my daughters would say, it's fall, y'all. That means it's the perfect time to call Hanson's. Prime time for Hanson's to come out and do all that fall trimming before winter storms can bring down trees and limbs on the homestead. Get on the Hanson's schedule for winter dormant oil applications to protect your trees from insects taking shelter over the winter, and a perfect time for Hanson's to put you on a preventative plant health care program. Everything you need for winter can be found at Hanson's. Hanson'sTree.com.
St. Louis's new choice for conservative talk.
Listen to this noise coming out of the White House.
Live and local.
We need to get the message to people who are not being helped by Democrats.
Ron DeSantis showed people the back of his hand.
This is News Talk STL. Mike Ferguson.
Are you pretending to be crazy?
Wow, you're really pumped about this.
Gabe Pfeiffer. Get up, St. Louis.
The best answer to the toxicity of the left is the truth.
Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
Get up, this is your cousin
At 8:20, I've got a soundbite from a congressional debate. Now, this one's in Minnesota, so it doesn't really affect us a whole lot other than, obviously there's an incumbent Democrat who's vulnerable. But it is just a very quick soundbite where she says the quiet part out loud. I even think as long as you guys have been around politics and media and stuff, your jaws are going to drop.
Really?
When I play this, okay?
Oh, that'll be interesting.
So 6:20, I've got that for you.
Spilling the tea.
Yep. It's going to be pretty darn funny, but we'll do that at 6:20. Also, 6:35, outgoing St. Louis County Councilman Tim Fitch is going to be with us here. We've got a massive budget deficit in the county because of overspending, because of a lack of leadership in the county. So where do we go from here and how bad is it? We'll talk to Tim about that around 6:35. I'm Mike Ferguson. It is 6:00, coming up on 6:08. Got Gabe Pfeiffer here. Got Ken Williams here. Hey, just a quick reminder on the our social media platforms, because we haven't talked about them a lot. The Rumble platform is growing a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, thank you all for joining us on Rumble. If you're on Rumble, and if you're not, please get on Rumble, because I think it's better than YouTube. But check it out. Look up NewstalkSTL on Rumble, on Twitter, on Facebook, on Getter, and like us. And the reason that I'm bringing that up is we hope that we're your voice when it comes to free markets, when it comes to conservatism, when it comes to being pro-life, when it comes to all of these just important things. And the more people who like us and interact and share our stuff, the louder we can amplify your voice. And that's really crucial. Obviously, we have a business interest in that, but we're making a difference. There's a buzz about Newstalk STL, and you are part of that. You're part of the family, and so please go to all of those platforms and like us. And when you hear something that particularly jumps out at you, share it, retweet it, re-getter it. What do they call it? Repost it, or whatever they do there.
Yeah.
And rumble it and all that. And so
Truth Social it.
Oh, is News Talk on True? I'm not on True Social. Is News Talk on True?
I'm on there. I don't think we are.
Okay, what's your handle? In
it's Ken_Williams.
Oh, easy enough. So you can find Ken there if you're on True Social. But that actually makes a really big difference, especially as we go into the elections and then into the even more important legislative session congressionally and in Illinois and in Missouri as well. So please do that. And you get to keep up with all the stuff that's happening, because we've got some cool events that are coming in the next several months. We want to make sure that you're the first to know about that. Okay. Advocates for insecure elections in Missouri lose in court. I mean, I know that's a biased way to say it, but it's an accurate way to say it. It appears that Missouri is going to hold on to the voter ID law, so you're going to have to bring your ID to the polling place, despite the best efforts of some liberal activists. Fox News' Rich Dennison has the story.
I think that
if I click on the right one, let me see here. There we go.
It's Friday, Mike.
It's right next to it there. Rich Dennison.
A Missouri law that requires voters to show a government-issued ID at the polls will stand for now. A judge Wednesday dismissed a lawsuit challenging the law. The ruling means voters without a photo ID will need to file a provisional ballot in November, and their vote will only be counted if they return later that day with the requested identification or an elections official verifies their signature. Officials with the groups that challenge the law say they will appeal to the state Supreme Court. Missouri voters in November will choose a new U.S. Senator and decide whether to legalize recreational marijuana. Rich Dennison, Fox News.
The only correction to that story is that ruling happened on Thursday, not on Wednesday.
Okay.
Now, the Missouri State Supreme Court could go any direction on this, and it's funny because a group calling itself the Missouri Voter Protection Coalition, which is a terrible name for a liberal activist group that simply does not want integrity in elections. They say, well, this was just a procedural ruling. No, their lawsuit was dismissed, so they can appeal.
Oh, wow.
They said this was not a ruling on the constitutionality or legality of it. The spokesperson for that name, Denise Lieberman, is quoted as saying, "It was simply procedural in nature. This case is not over by a long shot, and while we believe that the Cole County Circuit Court procedural ruling is incorrect and out of step with prior precedent, the truth of the matter is that this case will move forward and will ultimately be decided by the Missouri Supreme Court." Secretary of State Jay Ashcroft put out a statement as well. I'm going to quote Jay. He says, "I applaud and agree with the court's decision to dismiss this lawsuit, since not even the plaintiffs could find a single individual who would be prevented from voting. Missouri elections will continue to be safe, secure, and accurate as we prepare for November." So the good news here is that they can do the appeal. The best that the Anti-Secure Elections activists can hope for is some kind of stay on the law that requires a voter ID. But my guess is that the state Supreme Court is not going to be real interested in rushing to throw out something so crucial weeks before an election.
Why do I always feel like we're fighting with the Democrats about them cheating? I mean, we can't have that ID thing going. We need to get rid of that ID thing because we got other things we got to do.
Yeah,
that's the way I feel like they're doing. I don't think there's anybody on the left saying, well, the ID is truly hurting someone. No, I think they just have other more nefarious reasons for doing that.
That's what they're saying. That's what they're arguing. But again, I would challenge anybody to show me one single person who cannot get an ID, especially when you've got the Secretary of State's office who will issue you an ID for free. For free. Just have ID. Now, you got to still pay a fee if you want a driver's license, but an actual photo ID, they will do it for free. And if you say, but my great grandma is 110 years old and the documents aren't there and she just can't get an ID, they will actually assign somebody to track it down for her. Literally.
For free, right?
For free.
Okay.
For free.
Free?
Free.
Free.
Not Democrat free, where just everybody else, actually everybody else does pay for it. So I'm going to contribute
it's even Democrat free.
Tiny 1,000th of 1 penny of my fair share to help pay for you to get a free ID, and I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
And the argument that this is somehow oppressing any voters is nonsense. The reality is that if you absolutely oppose requiring a photo ID to vote, if you support mail-in voting, if you support the drop-off ballots, it is for one reason and one reason only, and that is because you oppose efforts to stop cheating in elections.
Absolutely. There's no two ways about it.
It really is.
Now, I'm curious, was the dismissal because they didn't have standing, because they can't find anybody who'd be harmed by the law?
I think that was part of it.
That's part of it. And they may refer to that as procedural, but that's literally the whole point. Is like they're arguing that this is a hurtful law, and the court says, well, nobody's can be hurt by it.
Yes, okay, show us who's hurt.
No one even can be hurt by this
What
law.
if they found one person? I mean,
then they have standing. Then they can. Then we have the court case.
Then we can talk about it.
Right.
But then, of course, then there's the ruling of then there's the balancing, right? It's like, well, this may hurt one person, but
no, if it hurts one person, then they've got a case.
Well, yes, but I'm saying then they have to rule on it.
Right.
And the ruling is going to take into account the larger aspects of the law as opposed to just the one person who could be hurt. And even then, I think it's a stretch for them to find that one person.
Because the Secretary of State simply points out what we just talked about, saying,
Here we got
here are all of the programs we have available to do this for you for free. Why can't you access that? Or why won't you access that?
Right.
There's just no way. Now, my guess is in the coming years, this is just my guess. And the reason I say that, it's an educated guess, because I was looking through that Voter Protection Coalition's Facebook page. One of the reasons that they're arguing that this is going to hurt people requiring a photo ID is over the transgender thing.
Oh, really?
Because Billy with a Y wants to become Billy with an IE, but his ID accurately lists him as male, and he goes, but that's the old me. That's my dead name. I want this new one, but he doesn't go get a legal change of name.
Well,
and so that's what they're arguing, that I think that's going to be the next round.
And that makes a lot of sense, but there's also a thing where when you get married, you have to go through a process of getting your name changed. So they could go through the same process. I mean, it's not like there's not a process in place for that already.
Yeah, you can legally change your name.
Yeah.
That's not an issue at all. But I think that'll be their next round to take a swing at this, when the bottom line is they just don't want these protections to completely secure the elections as much as we possibly can.
Because they want to cheat. That's what it is.
Just ahead, one of the best sound bites you're going to hear from a congressional debate that would otherwise bore the crap out of you. I've got it coming your way here at 6:20 on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Big cheaters.
For podcast articles and more, find us on NewstalkSTL.com. Get up, St. Louis. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning. Made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL.
You want to give me more information?
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Traffic Center.
Just one crash at the moment. It is partly blocking the on-ramp from Hanley to 70 westbound and involves a tractor-trailer. That's it. Our volume's pretty light. Everything else still looks pretty steady. This report is sponsored by Blindster. Save big on new blinds with Blindster.com, offering custom-made blinds, shades, and shutters shipped right to you at prices less than the big box retailers. Shop Blindster now and save 45% off any order just by using the code RADIO. Offer ends soon. Shop today at Blindster.com. I'm Joe Sonderman from the News Talk STL Traffic Center.
Employee onboarding?
Automated.
Customer support?
Automated.
What if you could automate all your company's routine operation tasks and do it easily? Lead management.
Automated.
With Zapier, you can. Zapier is the leader in no-code automation. Connect over 5,000 apps, automate almost any workflow, and streamline your team's performance without hiring a developer and with no coding required. That's right. Zapier's templates make it simple for you to automate anything in minutes, no matter your level of expertise. Zapier eliminates routine tasks and frees your employees to focus on the bigger picture. And with Zapier's advanced security features and annual SOC 2 audits, your data is safe and secure. See why thousands of companies, including Slack, Salesforce, and HubSpot, trust Zapier to automate their businesses. Even complex tasks?
Automated with Zapier.
Try Zapier for free today at zapier.com/radio. That's zapier.com/radio. Zapier.com/radio.
Columbo and Katie.
This has been going on for years, especially over the last 2 years when the border has been wide open. States like Arizona and Texas and Florida, there's nowhere along the southern border for all of these people to go. And it's been Democrat policy to give migrants bus tickets and plane tickets and let them go anywhere they want.
Tony Columbo, Katie Fitzpatrick. Weekdays at 2 on News Talk STL.
I'm Susie Moore, and this is More to the Point. The last inflation report before the midterms came out on Thursday, and surprising no one other than those who live in a constant state of denial, it stunk. Year-over-year inflation clocked in at 8.2%, with month-over-month jumping 0.4%. Remember, that's 4 inches in Biden years. Sometimes reports like these come out and the numbers sort of sail past us. We don't necessarily think about them in concrete terms. But it just so happens I took a photo of a grocery receipt back in April and had the chance to compare it to one from last week. I guess you could say I kept the receipts. 3 items on the receipts were identical, except for the price, that is. The soda was up by $1 and the soup was up by 50 cents, as was the pico de gallo. What can I say? I like spicy. That's an average increase of 16% in just 6 months. That's unsustainable. So Joe and the Democrats can try to keep spinning it however they want. Regular Americans are paying the price, literally, for their out-of-control spending and bass-backward policies. Conventional wisdom and James Carville say people generally vote their pocketbooks. If that holds true in November, it's Democrats who will be paying a steep price when the votes are counted.
Susie Moore is Deputy Managing Editor for RedState.com. For more to the point and everything Susie Moore, log on to RedState.com. Follow Susie on Twitter at SmoozyQ and keep listening to 1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
It's your patriotic right and duty.
The government needs to step up and do its job.
This is News Talk STL.
It's well-balanced conversation.
News, analysis, opinion. This hour of Mike Ferguson in the Morning is brought to you by Stifel. Request a portfolio review from your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com. Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019. Get up, St. Louis. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, 99.1 HD3 and newstalkstl.com.
America's talking to Fox News.
Midterm elections are just under a month away. Americans discuss the issues that will bring them to the polls on November 8th.
Seeing a reduction in our gas prices. Border security is one of the major problems of this country. It's completely out of hand. We are in serious trouble. And the economy, inflation is out of control.
Obviously, we have a problem here with crime.
The biggest issue for me is the attack on our democracy process, especially the January 6th events. It's very disturbing.
Crime, the economy, open borders, the fentanyl crisis.
We have neglected so many important issues, poverty and the problem with school budget.
Inflation and gas prices are pretty important. I also worry about people coming into office that are going to use their position to change results of elections and not follow the will of the people.
The national narrative around justice reform has kind of gone off the rails, and we need to really solve this in a meaningful way.
America's talking to Fox News.
And that leads to the elections we're about to have. And in Minnesota, there's a congresswoman named Angie Craig, and I'm not familiar with her. She's not exactly a big mover and shaker, but she's considered to be in a vulnerable district, meaning that this could be a flip from Democrat, her, to a Republican. She's running against a guy named Tyler Kistner, and I know nothing about that whatsoever. So they're in a debate that has to do with, pharmaceuticals and drug prices and all this sort of stuff. And here is what she actually said. I just grabbed the clip. I'm not editing it in any way.
I will never stop standing up for Big Pharma and standing against my constituents.
Way to go, Congresswoman!
Whoa! I heard that, and I was going to grab it, and I thought that was a complete gaffe.
Sure, yeah. It was,
but sure, it's fun to listen to.
It's hilarious.
Is it a gaffe or is it a Freudian slip?
That's right.
There you go.
It could be.
Mm-hmm. Just for fun, I'm going to play this again.
I will never stop standing up for Big Pharma and standing against my constituents.
Her opponent, who was sitting next
Smiling.
to her, he said, and I quote,
I heard that. I heard it too. Now, this was during the debate. Right?
This was actually during a televised debate.
She's a little nervous.
There's this pause after she says standing up for Big Pharma. There's a pause. That was the moment where she could have corrected it.
Yes.
But she said, I'm just going to keep going.
I'm going to go for it.
I'm going to power through.
Oh, my goodness.
And then it got worse.
And turn it up. Here we go.
And against my constituents.
That's right.
I'm not going to lie.
And she emphasized it, too.
Yeah, this morning in my office, I'm not going to lie, I may or may not have played that like 3 or 4 times.
It's funny.
It is.
Yeah.
And that little hitch in between the two phrases is my favorite part.
Yeah.
It really is.
Oh, man.
Because you can hear the brain going, like, what are you doing?
See, I can hear the comms people back in the green room cussing and screaming and, realizing. Now, the reality is I think that every voter, Republican or Democrat, knows what she meant to say.
Sure.
But it's just funny to keep playing it.
Oh,
just funny to keep playing it. Because you're not going to go to a voter and say, look at that, she said it.
Yeah,
well, we know what she meant.
Yeah. And if she's asked about it, she should laugh and just go, yeah, I meant the exact opposite.
Right.
But,
Yeah, precisely.
This is why they don't do debates.
Yeah.
This is why people don't do debates.
But this is why they should, because stuff like this can happen.
Yeah.
And it gives talk radio something to rant about and laugh about. And that's really what matters, guys.
So entertaining.
Oh, geez. All right. Speaking of, those prices and inflation in general, President Biden addressing Thursday's Consumer Price Index report for September, which confirms what everybody has known for, over a year now. Inflation sucks, and we know exactly why it's happening. And it did show worse than expected inflation numbers. Kevin Cork has the story.
The latest CPI is out, and yikes, an 8.2% jump year over year. That is not good news. But the president obviously looking for a silver lining anywhere he could find one. Well, he thinks he may have found one.
Today's report shows, though, some progress. Overall, inflation was 2% over the last 3 months. That's down from 11% over the prior 3 months.
This as the average price nationwide for a gallon of regular unleaded is inching ever closer to $4.
Oh, okay. So his silver lining
is lying.
Before it was up 11%. This time it's only up 2%. So it's still going up on top of the previous 11%. But that's a silver lining because it's not going up as fast as it was before. Do I have that right, Mr. President? Really?
If you can't find a silver lining, make one up.
Pretty much.
Oh my gosh! Like my current administration is sucking slightly less than it did last year.
Well, it still sucks as bad, just not as fast. We're not inhaling as hard as we did before, but we're still inhaling.
It's kind of like when we talk about how they're cutting the budget. They're not cutting it. What they're doing is they're still spending more, but they're not getting a more added to it as they normally would.
Okay, so that's exactly, if I'm understanding you right, Ken, that's exactly the same logic.
Yeah.
It is, okay, so I've got $1 million here on this project. Well, I've added $100,000 to this. So now it's $1.1 million. Now, next time, instead of adding $1 million again, I'm only going to add $500,000 again. So therefore, we've reduced the increase. So that way, it's actually kind of the same thing as a reduction in spending. No,
it's
still
an increase, but it's not as much of an increase.
We expected to add more, so we didn't add as much, but we're still adding, and therefore, by political speak, that means there's actually a decrease, and that means things are going the right direction. That's the logic that we're being told.
That's actually authentic governmental math.
Yeah.
If you had difficulty following that, it's because it's crap.
Yeah,
you're not supposed to.
It does nothing for your intelligence. It's just stupid.
They don't want people saying, hey,
wait a minute,
that's not right. And so the argument that, it's moving in the right direction. No, it's not moving in the right direction. And all I can do is laugh. This isn't an amused laugh. I mean, I guess a little bit, but this is squeezing and hurting people so bad. The idea that, I'm going to tell you that it's good is just horrific. So it comes down to, is this economic illiteracy? Is this gaslighting? Is this just simply lying? And the answer is yes.
Yeah, all of the above.
Oh, geez. Just unreal. All right. Speaking of bad financial decisions and overspending, that's not just for Congress anymore, just so you know. It's also for the St. Louis County Council and the county executive, because there is a tens of millions of dollars budget deficit that is happening. And they're hoping to push this off until after the election as well to deal with it. And we're going to talk to outgoing Councilman Tim Fitch about the realities of the situation, how it can be dealt with, and also get his take on the entire increase in crime, because obviously he's a retired police chief, so he knows a thing or two about fighting crime. So County Councilman Tim Fitch with us at 6:35 right here on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Watch us on our live stream using Rumble, Facebook, and Twitter. Get up. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning. Made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL. This is what's happening.
You can't get me more outraged than right now.
They sense that the Republicans are going to take charge in the House.
Keep our numbers in the Senate.
News, analysis, opinion.
We're going to win big on Election Day.
This is News Talk STL.
From the News Talk STL newsroom, I'm Joey Vasovich. The St. Louis County Board of Elections has reported that they're still trying to recruit 100 more Republicans to work the polls in North County during the November election. The job pays around $250 and involves watching a training video, plus getting to the polling place an hour before polls open and staying an hour after polls close. The EPA has fined Midwest Motors in Eureka $15,000 for installing illegal defeat devices in cars. These devices prevent emissions control systems from working in automobiles, which is a violation of the Federal Clean Air Act. The Melville School District canceled classes yesterday after a critical piece of network hardware failed. The district says it interrupted phones, internet, and computers, and it leaves Melville's schools without the ability to have virtual learning as well. The St. Louis Industrial Development Authority yesterday approved issuing $17 million in bonds to help finance a private company's effort to refurbish Hillvale apartments in a troubled part of northwest St. Louis. The $34 million effort to overhaul Hillvale, a 146-unit complex at 5830 Selbert Court, is supposed to start taking shape when construction begins in January. And in sports, the Blues unveiled the Purina Doghouse yesterday, a new moniker for the away team's penalty box at Enterprise. Whenever the visiting team gets a penalty and is sent to the Purina Doghouse, $100 will be donated to local service and support dog training organizations. For in-depth coverage of these stories and more, go to NewstalkSTL.com.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Traffic Center.
Just one crash so far. It's partly blocking the ramp from Hanley on the westbound 70. Otherwise, I don't see any major slowdowns at the moment. Piece of good news, the ramp from 364 to eastbound 94 will reopen after the morning rush. That ramp had been closed since December of 2021. That's the ramp from westbound 364 to eastbound 94. This report is sponsored by Blindster. Save big on new blinds at Blindster.com. Custom-made blinds, shades, and shutters shipped right to you and at prices less than the big box retailers. Shop Blindster now and save 45% off any order. Just use the code RADIO. Offer ends soon, so shop today at Blindster.com. Joe Sonderman from the News Talk STL Traffic Center.
From the News Talk STL Weather Center.
It's a chilly morning out there under clear skies. Some of the outlying areas could get near freezing, but another windy day on tap with a red flag warning for fire danger. 71 the high under partly cloudy skies. 40s tonight, a cold morning tomorrow again. 65 degrees on Saturday, 67 on Sunday. Not as windy over the weekend, and a chance for a widespread freeze early next week across the area. I'm KMOV First Alert meteorologist Kent Earhart.
Hi, I'm Dr. Alan Link, owner of the Dental Link. You've heard ads about teeth in a day, but did you know that you will be chewing on plastic, acrylic teeth? Here at the Dental Link, we can give you porcelain crown and bridge teeth utilizing mini dental implants that function much more like real teeth at about half the cost. Plus, mini dental implants are less invasive, less painful, and your recovery time is much shorter. Give us a call at 314-794-6464 or simply visit us today at thedentallink.com.
If you are on Medicare, you need to listen to this message. Open enrollment for all Medicare participants starts October 15th. This is a very critical time of the year for you to make needed changes to your plan.
This is Mike Butts with MB Health Insurance Agency. Regardless if you are new or renewing your health insurance, the process can be confusing and very time-consuming. MB Health is local here in St. Louis, and we will handle your enrollment quickly, properly, and effectively. Find us on the web at mbhealth.com.
MB Health can also help small businesses find the perfect medical coverage for their employees. That's mbhealth.com.
Packages start at $29.99 a month with signed agreement. Restrictions apply. Speak to a representative for complete offer details. See Vivint.com for license details. Terms and conditions apply.
Homeowners, if you're looking for the best in home security and smart home technology at a price you can actually afford, we have great news. Now you can get Vivint's award-winning home security systems starting at about $1 a day. U.S. News and World Report has recognized Vivint as the best professionally installed home security system of 2022. And right now, you can get Vivint's home security technology for about $1 a day. Plus, get free professional installation from a licensed technician. Protect your home and loved ones for as low as $1 a day. Call right now for your free home security consultation. 800-561-3405. 800-561-3405. 800-561-3405. That's 800-561-3405.
Listen anytime.
It happens
anywhere. Everywhere.
Every day continues to bring more news.
With the News Talk STL app. Keep St. Louis's home for conservative talk with you wherever you go. Download the News Talk STL app in the App Store or at newstalkstl.com. Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019. You're listening to Mike Ferguson in the morning. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, 99.1 HD3 and newstalkstl.com.
Just a breath away, losing my faith today. And don't forget to subscribe to the News Talk STL podcast just wherever you get your podcast, regardless of what platform. We're probably there. Just look up News Talk STL, hit subscribe, por favor. I'm Mike Ferguson. It is 6:36. Got Gabe Pfeiffer here. Got Ken Williams here. A lot of the drama that's happened around the St. Louis County Council has been framed in the media as the personality conflicts, which is not doing justice to exactly why it's so important that these fights be fought. politically speaking, obviously, as well. There's a lot at stake when it comes to not just personal freedom, but just good government and efficient government. And now we're getting word that there's a $40+ million shortfall in the budget. That doesn't come from nowhere in a local county government. And Tim Fitch with us from the county council. He's the current 3rd District councilman, is going to be with us here in just a moment. And we're going to get his take on this because this isn't something that comes out of nowhere. I mean, Gabe, this is something that you can see coming, but if you don't actually stop it in its tracks or get out ahead of it, it bites you in the butt in a huge way. When I say bites you in the butt, I mean it bites taxpayers in the butt.
Yeah, absolutely. All of us. I mean, proper prior planning prevents poor performance. It's one of the things my dad always said, and you got to plan for these, especially in government when things move at the speed of government.
Yeah.
So you got to be prepared.
Exactly. So Councilman Tim Fitch is with us now. Tim, appreciate you being on the program again. Let me start with the money aspect of this. I know that Sam Page and the Lisa Clancy and some of the others, they don't want to talk about this budget shortfall until after the elections. They don't want to deal with it until January. $40-some million in a county budget seems like a major issue. How bad is this?
Well, it's pretty bad. Although I have to tell you, I've been around county government now, including my time as the police chief for about 35 years. And I've heard this song before. And in 2009, when I became the police chief, we had a briefing from the budget office and Charlie Dooley's staff basically saying the county will be broke by 2012. Well, here it is, 2022, talking about 2023 budget. However, I think we're finally getting there. It's taken a lot longer. And usually when you start hearing these conversations about we're broke, you start hearing conversations about tax increases. And that came up yesterday at the council meeting that we had with the county executive's office about tax increases. We can't cut our way out of this problem. We're going to have to increase taxes. So basically what I think they're doing is getting everybody warmed up to the idea that taxes are going to go up. Now, that'll be a discussion that'll probably take place after I'm off the council. As you know, my term is up in about 2 months. However, we are dealing with this, and we do have to approve the budget by the end of the year. And the county executive, at the end of the day, sent us a budget that's about 9% higher than last year. For the first time ever, we're over $1 billion in budget and about a $40 million shortfall. So the charter requires the budget to be balanced, so you can't send and approve a budget that's not balanced. So basically what we're doing is we're balancing it in 2023 with reserves. And we wouldn't have those reserves if we hadn't received that ARPA money. You're familiar with that. Mm-hmm. That's the American Rescue Plan money. We received tens of millions of dollars of that, and that's what's really kept us afloat this year and will probably keep us afloat next year. So the real crunch time, up against the wall time, will be during this time next year when the council's talking about the budget for 2024, because all those federal funds have to be expended and will be gone by then.
Good morning, Tim. Gabe Pfeiffer here. How did we get here? How did a county with our population, which has basically been stagnated, or even I think we've lost some.
We've lost some population
recently.
Yeah.
How did we get to the point where city services or county services have ballooned the budget so much?
Well, it's a simple. Think about your home budget. The county is spending a lot more than it's taking in. And the difference is we're not the federal government. We can't print money. So we have to balance our budget. And we just keep kicking the can down the road. And I say we, and I'm talking about the elected leaders in St. Louis County, have been kicking this can down the road for many years and just saying, we can do this, we can do this. And, Prop P, when Prop P was passed, that was the police funding bill, the public safety funding bill. That really pushed this out further and kicked the can down the road even further. But even that account it's all spent and answered for. So there's no new projects. If police want another raise at some point in the future, you can't use Prop P money for it because it's all accounted for. It's all spoken for. So, there's actually been some talk about asking the public to increase Prop P funding. So who knows where this is going to go? But here's the bottom line. The bottom line is, as I said, I've been around county government for 35 years. It used to be we took in a lot more money than we spent. That changed over the years. As the population of the county has gone down, it's become more challenging as far as, the issues facing St. Louis County and derelict homes. And then really, I have to say this too, the pandemic shutdowns by Sam Page really accelerated this problem. This probably wouldn't have been as big of an issue, but we lost so much tax revenue during his shutdowns, and you don't hear him talking about that at all. It's all about, we need more money, tax increases, not that, hey, I helped cause this problem.
Yeah, so let me just kind of reset everything. $40-some million shortfall, reserves are being dipped into. There's a requirement for a balanced budget, and the Page administration starts off the conversation with a budget that's 9% higher after saying we can't cut our way out of it. How is that received when that comes in? I mean, is there no thought in their head that, okay, if you say we can't cut our way out of it, I got to think we probably could, but at least you don't pile on to it?
Yeah, that's exactly right. He should have sent a budget to us that matched with the revenue that's anticipated to come in next year, and he didn't. He sent us a budget that's much higher. Now, here's another little catch. They include a ton of money in the budget, about $60 million in the budget for positions that are unfilled. Wouldn't you think that'd probably be the easiest way to approach this to begin with, is freeze those positions, don't fill them? We're already operating county government, although some may argue not well, but we're already operating county government without these $60 million in positions. Do we really need to fill them? For example, Sam Page has 11 positions open that are unfilled in his budget, his county executive budget. His executive CEO of his office yesterday told us that they plan to fill all 11 of those. Now, why are we having that discussion? Why do you need to fill all those positions when you've gone, in most cases, for the last few years with most of those not filled? Now, suddenly we're in a budget crunch and you tell us you're going to fill every one of those? So, I mean, that's a non-starter for me.
Good morning, Tim. This is Ken Williams. This actually kind of goes along with what you were just talking about. I'm a firm believer that government should probably look first at decreasing services before increasing taxes, always. I mean, that should always be the first thing. But is there a way that we can do that in our county government, like find some way to decrease these services so we don't have to raise taxes?
Absolutely, and we've asked every department head that's come before us since the budget discussion started now 2 weeks ago for that very idea. And you know what they tell us? Nope, got to have it. Got to have it all. Got to have it all. Everything we've asked for, we got to have it all. Now, that's not a coincidence when these, in many cases, they're political appointees of the county executive, comes to us and says, we have to have it all. So, no, there's no room for negotiation here. There's nothing that we want to do to reduce the budget. There's nothing we can do to increase revenue other than raise taxes. That's not a coincidence. So obviously they're getting instructions from the Page administration to deliver that message to the county that cutting any kind of services, that's just not on the table.
Phenomenal irresponsibility. Just phenomenal fiscal irresponsibility.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Absolutely.
He's
scared to death. He's got a tough race ahead of him. He's scared to death to talk about cutting any kind of services or reducing the budget. He's scared to death to do that.
And he's going to be up against a guy who's run businesses, who understands balance sheets.
Yep, that's exactly right. And yesterday I told the council, I've said this for years now, we need a professional county manager to do these type of things. Unfortunately, all we have in these top positions in the county executive's office are political appointees who have no executive management experience. They were brought in because of their political connections to Sam Page. That's a recipe for disaster, and why he will not consider bringing in a professional county manager to run at least the fiscal parts of St. Louis County government is beyond me.
Well, that debate on November 1st between Mark Mantovani and Sam Page is going to be very, very interesting for a lot of people to see. I'm a little heavy on time, but just real quick question. But given your background in law enforcement, police chief, obviously crime front and center in this, not just the election, but just in our lives right now, what is maybe the one thing, the first step that the county should do to really amp up that protection of the public and deal with this violent crime regardless of where it's coming from?
Well, I sat through the Board of Police Commissioners meeting on Wednesday and listened to all of the issues in the police department. They are 84 police officers short right now. 84. That is a record high in St. Louis County Police. The highest we ever had, and it was a crisis when I was there, was 50, and now they're at 84. That's about the same number of personnel as the entire North County precinct, which is our highest crime precinct. it's like being the whole precinct not being there. So we really have to figure out how to attract young men and women to law enforcement and get them in the door, because right now that's the issue. I mean, we're paying well. We have great benefits. All the recipe for success is there. The problem is getting the people in the door. And the reason they won't come in the door for the most part is the political atmosphere in the St. Louis area when it comes to law enforcement. Until we get behind these men and women and support them and say, hey, you get out there, you do the right thing, we're going to support you. We don't care who complains. It's not going to get any better. So that's the number one pressing issue. And it's not just the county police. Look at how decimated the city police. If you think the county's in bad shape, the city's in 10 times worse shape.
All right, Tim Fitch, outgoing St. Louis County councilman. Are you going to stay involved after you leave the council?
Oh, you bet. I'm not going away that easy. I know I was redistricted out, but that doesn't mean I'm going away that easily.
Okay, so I'm going to hold on to your email and phone number. We're going to talk again.
Absolutely.
All right, thanks
for the
Tim.
invitation.
You got it.
Thanks, Tim.
Right.
Tim Fitch, 3rd District County Councilman, is wrapping up his tenure in office here in just a couple of months here. All right, 314-912-1019. Hey, we've got an update, speaking of public safety, on the defender of Metropolis. Right, Gabe?
Oh, gosh. We have to talk about this.
Yeah.
Right up my alley.
There it is. We'll talk about Superman. Turns out he's not gay anymore.
Yay.
We'll talk about that in 4 minutes on 1019 94.1 News Talk STL.
Just a man, not superhuman. I'm not superhuman. Someone save me from the haze. Just another war.
For podcast articles and more, find us on NewstalkSTL.com. Get up. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning, made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL. From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Traffic Center.
Just picking up a little volume, northbound 55 headed into the work zone in South City. Everything else still looks normal. There is one crash. You have to use some caution if you're getting on 70 westbound from Hanley. They've got the right side of the ramp closed. That's an accident there. This report sponsored by Blindster. Want to save big on new blinds? Blindster.com offers custom-made blinds, shades, and shutters shipped right to you at prices less than the big box retailers. Shop Blindster now and save 45% off any order. Just use the code RADIO. Offer ends soon. Shop today at Blindster.com. I'm Joe Sonderman from the News Talk STL Traffic Center.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
Friday, we'll have Zach Smith of Heritage on crime and SCOTUS at 4:25. At 5:25, Dr. Aaron Hedlund on the bad Bidenflation.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps. Weekdays at 3:30 on News Talk STL.
Do you have a property that is more hassle than is worth? Hi, this is David with House Sold Easy, and I buy houses cash. If you own a property and want to sell it fast at a fair price, call me at 314-293-3000. Do you own an ugly property, a behind on mortgage payment property, a lazy tenant that won't pay rent property, a too much junk and clutter property, or even a, hey, I'm curious about a fair cash offer property? Well, don't worry. I buy them all, and I want to make you a fair cash offer. Call me at 314-293-3000.
It's the Sail On Tour 2022, starring Orleans, Pablo Cruz, Firefall,
You are the woman that I've always dreamed of.
Peter Beckett, the voice of Player, and Walter Egan with Sail On 2022, Saturday, October 15th at the Family Arena. Tickets available at the Carroll House box office located at the Family Arena or at Ticketmaster.
You feel good tonight?
They're back, cocked and loaded. The Family Arena presents 38 Special with special guests Molly Hatchet and Black Oak, Arkansas. Saturday, November 19th, the Family Arena. Tickets on sale now at the Carroll House box office located at the Family Arena or Ticketmaster.com. Presented by the Family Arena.
News, analysis, opinion.
They're mad at inflation, crime. They're mad at gas prices and the border with fentanyl rushing across it.
1019 and 94.1.
Vote.
The midterms were first Tuesday in November.
News Talk STL. This hour of Mike Ferguson in the morning is brought to you by Stifel. Request a portfolio review from your Stifel financial advisor at Stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com. News, analysis, opinion. Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019. This is Mike Ferguson in the morning. Made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL.
Faster than a speeding bullet, able to leap tall mountains, more fabulous than... Well, never mind, that's not the case anymore. All right, so Superman's comic book creators are kind of backtracking on their woke plan for him. We'll get to that in just a couple of minutes. I'm Mike Ferguson. It is 6:52. Got resident comic book expert Gabe Pfeiffer in the studio with us. Ken Williams with us here as well.
Yeah, Mike, we got Robin on the line.
Robin's on the line. Hey, Robin, you're on News Talk STL.
Hi, I'm all fired up after listening to Tim Fitch. I mean, this is just ridiculous. We need to do whatever we can to support our businesses, to have more businesses come in, and also the police. Because if we don't have a safe county, the businesses are not going to want to stay here. And, you know, these services, that the positions that they haven't filled, for what is it, whiny little stuff that a few people need. No, we need the police and we need businesses.
Yeah, and the point that jumped into my head too, and I think that's a really good point as far as the law enforcement goes. But when you're talking about tax increase after tax increase after tax increase, Sam Page has already closed down a bunch of businesses that didn't come back. He's run off others. He's making it more hostile and more expensive to do business in St. Louis County, which is why if you're smart and you want to open up or expand a business, you do it in Jefferson County or particularly in St. Charles County. But he's doing everything he can to make sure that we are as unfriendly to job creators as possible.
What is wrong with him?
Well, we've been trying to figure that out for a while.
Yeah. I mean,
I can't wait to the debate. I think Mark is just going to kill him.
This is going to be... I think what's going to happen is that you're going to have two guys who have two completely different sets of reality. Mark Mantovani is going to be dealing with the actual reality, and then Sam Page is going to be trying to gaslight us into whatever his version of reality that he wants people to think of. So the Tony Messenger type of reality is what he's going to be trying to argue. Hey, good take on that. Appreciate that. Have a great weekend.
Thank you. You too.
All right. 314-912-1019. I love it when I hear people saying, I am fired up now.
Yeah.
That's what has to happen. Yeah.
Yes.
This is what has to happen is people, look at, for instance, we talked about the shutdowns and everything. We have short attention spans collectively. That still infuriates me, but the fact of the matter is that the common voter has said, oh, yeah, that sucked at the time. I guess, we just got to kind of move on. And they've moved on, even if they're angry about it, and it may not affect their vote. But you start talking about Sam Page wants to raise your taxes again because they refused to be fiscally responsible. That's hitting people where it hurts. In addition to all the inflation that's brought on by the Biden administration, you have people understanding this really affects us locally here. So, 314-912-1019. Great take on that. All right. Turns out, Gabe, that we talked about this, 6 months ago or whatever the case is, that Spider-Man is, well, not gay, bisexual. Superman. I'm sorry. Superman is going to be bisexual.
Right.
And I think we're all in agreement. It's like, well, live your life, dude. Do whatever you want. But this is clearly using the comic book to say, this is our woke agenda. We're going to do this. And apparently the market has just said,
Yeah, repeatedly. I mean, the market has been responding to the comic creators' woke push for a good decade or so now. They keep doing this. They keep releasing new books, trying to get a bunch of Twitter attention and social media acceptance by all the right people. They get a brief bump on like a first issue release, which is what they always do. They start a new series at a number one. They make some sort of big political statement or social statement. They get some numbers on number one, and then the comic immediately crashes. They have to cancel it for sales. I think this issue made it to, or this comic series, Superman, the Son of Kal-El. This is about Superman's bisexual son. It sounds so dumb when you say it out loud, doesn't it?
See, and my guess is that even our gay friends and bisexual friends are going, yeah, this is really dumb, guys.
Yeah.
Just let Superman be Superman.
So it got to issue 13, I think, which is kind of a record for a lot of these. They usually kind of tap out before they get to double digits because they're generally so bad. And both the big comic companies, Marvel and DC, have been doing this for years and years and years, and I think they will continue to do it until their parent companies, which is Disney over Marvel and Time Warner or AT&T. I think it's AT&T at this point. There have been changed
we know Disney's
hands so many times over DC. Yeah, but yes, we know Disney's kind of chilling. They've got Disney money. They don't care. Right now, Marvel is still their farm league for their movies and TV shows, which they are still kind of making money on. But even that's kind of taking a leftist turn in their storytelling, and it's not good. It's the same process all over again.
Now, you mentioned that when they first start one of these, it starts up really big,
Sure.
Is it because that people want to get that first issue?
Yeah, number ones always outsell pretty much every other issue of a comic run. So that's why comics. One thing they always do is they always start a new series at a number one just so they can get that bump.
There, the collectors put them in a plastic bag somewhere.
Yeah, but these end up in a trash bin somewhere.
There you go. All right, so just ahead here, state legislative races caught the attention of Americans for Prosperity, putting a lot of effort in the St. Louis area. We'll hear from them at 7:04.
Hey guys, Columbo here, reminding you that if you belong to an organization like a school or a church, or your kids are part of a group or a sports team that needs to raise money, there's no better way to do so than with a TJ's Pizza fundraiser. TJ's Pizza has been helping local organizations raise money for over 30 years to the tune of tens of millions of dollars. A local company helping local people, and there's lots of different ways TJ's can help you raise big money fast. Get started now at tjspizza.com.
News Talk STL is proud to have Doug Voss of Safe Money Radio as part of our lineup each week. Doug has been a staple on St. Louis radio for many years as one of the leading financial experts in the area. You can hear Doug and Safe Money Radio 3 times every weekend on News Talk STL. But in case you miss anything, you can check it all out at DougVossSafeMoneyRadio.com. What else do our listeners need to know, Doug?
Simply put, I focus on helping pre-retirees and retirees build, preserve, and protect retirement assets, and I've been helping my clients solve their insurance and financial needs for the past 33 years. I also strive to educate my clients on how to prepare for retirement, minimize the impact of market volatility on their assets, and deal with the challenges of increased longevity. Call me today at 844-676-SAFE. That's 844-676-7233.
Doug Voss is a registered representative. Securities offered through DHL Securities LLLP, member FINRA and SIPC.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at NewstalkSTL.com.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. Described by police as a juvenile male, a suspect is in custody in a deadly shooting rampage in Raleigh, North Carolina.
RPD has confirmed 5 fatalities. One of them was an off-duty Raleigh police officer. 2 others were also transported to the hospital. One is a Raleigh police canine officer.
Raleigh Mayor Marianne Baldwin saying that something has to be done to stem the rising tide of violence in America. Lieutenant Jason Borneo with the Raleigh PD.
For the Raleigh Police Department, every Raleigh police officer is a brother or sister. So when we lose one of our own, it is a tragic, heartbreaking day for all of us.
His remarks and those of the mayor aired by WTVD. A suspect is in police custody in connection with the vehicle dragging death of a carjacking victim in Los Angeles. The Supreme Court has rejected former President Trump's appeal to intervene in the legal fight over the FBI search of Mr. Trump's Florida home.
The High Court refused to consider former President Trump's emergency appeal without commenting. Trump had pressed the court on an issue relating to classified documents seized in a search authorized by a federal judge of Mar-a-Lago. The Trump team was asking the justices to overturn a lower court ruling and permit an independent arbiter or special master to review the roughly 100 documents with classified markings that were seized. A 3-judge appellate court panel had sided with the Justice Department. It argued there was no legal basis for the special master to conduct his own review of the classified records. Norman Hall, Washington.
And Mr. Trump has been subpoenaed to testify before the Democrat-controlled January 6th committee, which Mr. Trump has accused of conducting a politically motivated witch hunt. More on these stories, townhall.com.
Hi, Dennis Prager here with some information on a new product that's quite fascinating for staying healthy, Cofix RX. Everybody's been in the situation, the person next to you is sniffling or even coughing. Wouldn't it be great if you had a way to minimize airborne viral threats? To reduce your chance of getting hurt, you wear a safety belt when you're driving, and to limit sun damage, you wear sunscreen on the beach. Cofix is just like that. Cofix is a providone iodine-based antiviral nasal spray that helps keep you protected from airborne viruses. With Cofix RX nasal spray, you'll target colds, flus, and other viruses right where they breed, in your nasal cavity. Cofix RX should be in everyone's pocket, purse, or medicine cabinet. Visit CofixRx, that's COFIXRX.com, for a doctor, pharmacy, or health food retailer near you, or use the coupon code Prager for 20% off at CofixRx.com.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Traffic Center.
It's relatively quiet. Friday mornings have been the last few weeks. We just have a little volume. 55 north, Carondelet up to Virginia, and a minute or so. 270 northbound isn't bad. It's busy, but it's moving up through Gravois, Doherty Ferry through Manchester. Same situation. A little off the pace, but still moving. Poplar Street Bridge traffic is in good shape this morning. This report sponsored by Blindster. Do you need new blinds or shades? Blindster.com offers custom-made blinds, shades, and shutters shipped right to you at prices less than the big box retailers. Blindster blinds are easy to install, and they're guaranteed to fit. Don't overpay for new blinds. Shop today and save big at Blindster.com. I'm Joe Sonderman from the News Talk STL Traffic Center.
From the News Talk STL Weather Center.
It's a chilly morning out there under clear skies. Some of the outlying areas could get near freezing, but another windy day on tap with a red flag warning for fire danger. 71 the high under partly cloudy skies. 40s tonight, a cold morning tomorrow again, 65 degrees on Saturday, 67 on Sunday, not as windy over the weekend, and a chance for a widespread freeze early next week across the area. I'm KMOV First Alert Meteorologist Kent Earhart.
This hour of News Talk STL is brought to you by Stifel, serving investors for over 130 years. Contact your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com.
I'll second guest dinners with friends because they can be interrupted by diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or oily stools. It turns out I have EPI, or exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, which means I'm missing the enzymes needed to digest food. My doctor prescribed Creon, pancrelipase, an oral prescription medication that replaces pancreatic digestive enzymes. Creon treats EPI due to cystic fibrosis, chronic pancreatitis, pancreatectomy, or other conditions.
Creon may increase your chance of fibrosing colonopathy, a rare bowel disorder. Tell your doctor if you have a history of intestinal blockage or scarring or thickening of your bowel wall, if you're allergic to pork, or if you have gout, kidney problems, or worsening of painful swollen joints. Call your doctor if you have any unusual or severe gastrointestinal symptoms or allergic reactions. Take Creon as directed by your doctor and always with food. Do not chew capsules, as this may cause mouth irritation. Other side effects may include blood sugar changes, gas, dizziness, sore throat, and cough. These are not all the side effects of Creon.
Creon is the #1 prescribed EPI treatment. Ask your doctor about Creon for EPI and visit creoninfo.com or call 800-633-9110 to learn more. That's CREONinfo.com.
The news and talk that affects St. Louis.
Raised interest rate by 0.75 percentage point.
Nothing short of bad. Vladimir Putin threatened
not to ease tensions, but to escalate them through the threat of nuclear weapons.
This is 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL. Mike Ferguson.
You play ball like a girl!
Gabe Pfeiffer.
I triple dog dare you!
Get up! Get up! Can't you hear the alarm?
Get up, St. Louis.
So it's time to get out of bed. Pour yourself the greatest cup of Kofifi the world has ever seen. Rise up with one voice. Drain the swamp and take back our country. Today's the day we're going to do it, and it's time to do it right now, believe me.
Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
Get up! Get up! This is your cousin.
I think it's interesting how media coverage of the elections tends to focus on just a few state races around the country. We're hearing a lot about Pennsylvania with the, Dr. Oz from TV versus that mutant guy. And then you've got the Ohio race, and then you got the Georgia race, and then, to some degree Wisconsin, although it looks like the Democrats losing some momentum in that race. But the elections that affect our lives the most directly are the ones closest to us.
Right.
We heard from a little bit earlier today, outgoing County Councilman Tim Fitch in St. Louis County explaining exactly why the local elections are so important. State legislative races are absolutely crucial as well. If you want any evidence of that, just look at the difference between how things are run on the Missouri side of the listing area and the Illinois side of the listing area. Our friends at Americans for Prosperity taking a keen interest in a couple of these state legislative races right here in the St. Louis area, and they're putting some work into it. Joined now by AFP of Missouri's Camelia Peterson. And Camelia, first of all, what is it about the St. Louis region and these particular races that has your attention so keenly?
Good morning. Thanks for having me on this morning. So in this area, AFP has a pretty stringent, requirement whenever we look at what we get involved in candidate races. And, obviously we look for quality candidates who are aligned on values and principles, who are going to be solid, in defending your liberties in the legislature. But we are also looking at those races that are close and they need our help to get across the finish line. We have a couple of them in the St. Louis area, St. Louis County area, St. Charles, that caught our attention, and one of those is Adam Schwadron in now the 105th District, who's, he's an incumbent. He just finished up his first term, but he has been an excellent candidate or an excellent legislator in terms of his voting record. So we want to make sure that we keep people like that representing us in our legislature. And then the other one that we are looking at is, we're involved in, is in District 92 in South St. Louis County. And Bob Mahachek is a first-time candidate in that race. The opponent is the incumbent, Michael Burton. And that district is a purple district. I think the partisan split is estimated to be about -3 for Republicans, and we would love to be able to flip that district red. And Bob is a great candidate. He's well known in the community, good values, good principles. He is also just a pleasure to work with. People like to talk to him because he's not out there, flame throwing. He believes in good civil dialogue and then, getting things done.
Good morning, Camelia. Gabe Pfeiffer here. What is AFP's stance on the various amendment and ballot initiatives and things like that? Do you have any comments on those?
We are not taking an official stance on any of the ballot initiatives or amendments. I will say that, specifically when we're talking about Amendment 3 on the marijuana legalization, that even though we are not taking a formal stance on it, we did support Representative Ron Hicks' legalization bill in the last session. Because I think when you're looking at legalization, first of all, what's on the ballot right now is terrible in terms of, we don't need to put this kind of stuff in the Constitution. There are lots and lots of problems with it. We would be creating a felony and putting that in our Constitution. There are multiple issues with this ballot initiative. And so there's, while we don't formally take a stance on it, there's the kind of things that are in there are things that we oppose. We don't need to put more of these things in the Constitution. And we would like to see, something that the legislature can work with, that they can have some control over, so that when there are issues with, if they find a problem that something needs to be adjusted, they can address that. Whereas if you've got it in the Constitution, it's virtually impossible to go back and change. And it made it quite a ways in the House during the session, but leadership just wasn't in favor of getting it on the calendar and getting it to the floor, which was unfortunate, because I think that Hicks' bill was a good approach to legalization, and it was reasonable. It was a very free market approach. So we definitely supported that formally and would do so again.
We're visiting with Camelia Peterson from Americans for Prosperity, obviously the Missouri chapter of that. Okay, so speaking of that, you talked about the legislative bill with Representative Hicks and that being, a better approach than Amendment 3, and we've talked about a couple of these local races you're involved in. After these elections, when you look to 2023, what are some of the priorities that you think the legislature should take when it comes to, I guess, defending or expanding freedom and free markets? What do you want to see on the priority list?
Sure. Well, some of the things that are priorities for us consistently, and they will be priorities for us again in January, are things like healthcare, tax reform. We really fought hard to help push this tax cut that went through in the special session. We were very much in favor of that. We were glad to see that I know we would like more in an income tax cut.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
We would really like, we would like to see it down to zero. But that's maybe a whole other can of worms.
Well, and Camelia, I apologize for interrupting. Let me just say that I've officially dubbed what came out of the special session as, and this is my quote, I think I'm going to trademark it, the weak-ass tax cut that was put through there. So that's just my take.
Yes, and I know, a lot of people feel that way, and I get that, and I understand that. Our kind of approach to it is that when you look at what the tendency was in the Senate, the bills that first were proposed that we kind of saw coming down the pipe, they were so much worse, and they would have been so much less than what we got. And so that Huff-Koenig compromise that came out of there, Senator Koenig has been fantastic in moving things along in the right direction. And so I know it's not what we wanted, but we definitely will take it as a win, and we will definitely keep fighting for more. So, tax reform is something that we would still like to work on. I think we will see a lot of talk about the corporate tax coming up in the next session. So I think we will definitely see a push for a cut to the corporate tax rate, and we will be involved in that for sure. So, healthcare, tax cuts, also education. Education is a big issue for us. We are definitely in favor of more freedom in education. We would like to expand open enrollment just as a small step. Our ultimate goal is seeing money follow the child, but those are all high priorities for us.
Yeah, I'd love to see Missouri follow what Arizona did.
Yes, yeah, definitely watching that, because when people say, oh, this is going to, defund our schools and it's going to do all of these terrible things, well, we have a great example to look at in playing out in real life right now in Arizona. So I think this is going to be great in terms of being able to show Missourians that this is something that can be done here, too.
All right. And in the meantime, you're specifically looking at those two races we mentioned a little bit earlier that the AFP is involved in. How do they get in touch with you or Missouri AFP in general?
So you can find us easily on Facebook. Just look for Americans for Prosperity Missouri. Also on Twitter, AFP Missouri. Those are probably the two easiest ways to find us. And then, just shoot us a message, drop us a comment. We will definitely get in touch with you. And one note about some of these races, because, when, of course, in conservative circles in Missouri, we say, the general is in the primary, but we have these races in the general election that need our attention, and especially like in Representative Schwadron's district. I think a lot of people consider that a safe race, and they don't realize that the partisan split in that district is like 50-50, and he just narrowly pulled out a win, and this is a rematch for him in 2020. Plus, you have a libertarian candidate on the ballot where there was not one on the ballot last time. So he definitely, in the St. Charles area, we need people to get involved and knock doors and make sure that we turn out the vote, in those districts. And the same for, we want to split, or not, we don't want to split, we want to flip, that district for Bob Mahachek in South St. Louis County. And so we really, people need to turn out and boots on the ground and knock doors and have those conversations with people to do that.
You still looking for people to volunteer and get involved?
Absolutely. Every single day.
Right.
You let me know, and I will, and I am out there with you. And I tell you, one of the things I love to hear in South St. Louis County is why I think we have such a great chance if we can just get the vote turned out for Mahachek is that when I knock on somebody's door and they were like, oh, you know what? I know who he is. My kids went to school with his kids. He's been in the area a long time. I think we have a very real chance, but we can't take it for granted.
Of course. All right, Camellia Peterson from Americans for Prosperity, Missouri. Good to talk to you again.
Thank you so much.
All right, 314-912-1019. It's in the national news. I want to address this. The jury in the Parkland shooter case basically come back and say he probably deserves a death penalty, but we don't recommend it.
Really?
So I'll give you the update on that. Also get Governor Ron DeSantis' reaction to that. We'll do that at 7:20. And at 7:35, interesting side effect to overturning Roe versus Wade. An increase in personal responsibility.
What?
No, we can't have that. That's all still ahead right here on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Your indifference. Stop right now before you blow us all away. You wanna do that? Get up, can't you hear the alarm? Get up, this is your curtain call. Get up, what are you waiting for? Get up.
Get up, St. Louis. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning. Made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL.
You want to give me more information?
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Traffic Center.
Boy, we're in good shape. Everything is relatively light. 55 North is just kind of busy running up into the work zone in South City. Let's call it Carondelet to Virginia. Slow, but moving. 270 northbound, same situation. It's just got some busy pockets running up through Doherty Ferry and Manchester so far. So that still looks pretty good. Bridge Complex downtown, everything looks fine. This report sponsored by Blindster. Need new blinds or shades? Blindster.com offers custom-made blinds, shades, and shutters shipped right to you at prices less than the big box retailers. Blindster blinds are easy to install and they're guaranteed to fit. Don't overpay for new blinds. Shop today and save big at Blindster.com. I'm Joe Sonderman from the News Talk STL Traffic Center.
Hello, St. Louis. Do you suffer from dry cough, static electricity, shocking the pet's nose when you go to pet them? Then you're in need of an April Air whole home humidifier. Jones Air and Water will install an April Air 600 model in the month of October for $650. For all News Talk listeners, find us on the web at joneswater.com or call us at 636-899-1040. You can be a filter or buy a filter. Jones Air and Water, 636-899-1040.
You know, the housing market does not shut down over the winter months. And as we head in, don't think, I really need to make a move, make a decision, but I'll just wait till the first of the year. Well, maybe that is the right decision, but maybe this is the time to jump on an opportunity, and you need to call Rodney and Jen to get some good advice on that. Mike Ferguson here for the Wallner Home Selling Team with Berkshire Hathaway. Give them a call at 314-810-SOLD. Not only are you going to get good advice, which yeah, you can get some good advice from a lot of different real estate agents, but you're going to get it from their family perspective and their in-depth knowledge of the St. Louis market. It's going to come to you in a way that is really, really unique in a fantastic way. Talk to Rodney and Jen. Do what I do. Call 314-810-SOLD. Even if you're not sure if you're going to make a move, get some advice from them. They are happy to provide you that advice to help you make the right decision, and they will guide you through a tough market. They will guide you through a complicated market and get you the best dollar for dollar of that home, whether you are buying or selling. And if you're selling, they've got so many pre-approved buyers, you will get an offer. 314-810-SOLD. Call Rodney and Jen today, 314-810-SOLD.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
Senator Jim Talent.
We live in an age where saying common sense things is considered to be controversial or even revolutionary. Like, we need oil and gas. Yeah, I think we do. Or maybe we shouldn't shut down the schools. Maybe it's not a really great idea when troubled teenagers come in and just to rush to pump them full of drugs.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps. Weekdays at 3:30 on News Talk STL.
Fox News commentary.
Joe Biden, the man who canceled the Keystone Pipeline on day one, is asking Saudi Arabia to stall oil cuts till after the midterms. I'm Tommy Lahren. More next.
Hi, I'm Lisa Booth for Bishop Gold Group. Are you worried about your financial future as retirement gets closer? All over the country, soon-to-be retirees are fearing for their financial future as markets remain volatile. Bishop Gold Group helps you invest in gold and gold IRAs to protect your wealth and retirement during times of high inflation and wild swings in the market. Secure your future today. Contact Bishop Gold Group by dialing pound 250 from a mobile phone and say the keyword Bishop Gold, or visit bishopgoldgroup.com.
Gas prices are crushing Americans right, left, and center, and our president should be working to bring them down for the sake of the people, not for the sake of his party's political vulnerability. But that's exactly what Joe Biden was caught doing. This week, the White House admitted to asking Saudi Arabia to delay the OPEC Plus vote to cut oil production until after November midterms. Wow, just wow. I guess it never occurred to these Democrats that bowing to foreign and often hostile nations to bring down fuel prices isn't the only option. We could and should be increasing domestic production, but instead, Biden and the green hair environmentalists are doing everything to tamp down on it. This administration is a national and global embarrassment. Everything they do is about gaining and maintaining their power. They don't give a hoot about the plight of the American people. I'm Tommy Lahren.
Subscribe and watch your favorite News Talk STL shows. Mike Ferguson in the morning, The Vic Porcelli Show, Columbo and Katie, Jones and Arps. Webcam streaming on Facebook, Twitter, Rumble. Subscribe and watch News Talk STL. News, analysis, opinion. Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019. Get up. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning, made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL.
It's hard to believe the Parkland school shooting was over 4 years ago, almost 4.5 years ago.
Yeah, that's wild.
It seems like it was just yesterday because of the sheer horror of what happened there. And the case is continuing. Obviously, the guy, Cruz, Nicholas Cruz is the shooter. He says he did it. He admits it.
Sure.
The defense of him wasn't that he didn't do it. It was that, he's mentally ill, so you can't hold him accountable for it. And the jury said, nah, we can hold him accountable for it. So he's convicted of 17 counts of murder and several other charges as well for those who survived his rampage. And parents of the victims of the Parkland, Florida school shooting sat in a courtroom on Thursday listening to a jury recommendation that Cruz, the admitted killer, be sentenced to life in prison. Fox News' Eben Brown reports from Miami, and then I've got a reaction from Governor Ron DeSantis.
Weeks of testimony in a penalty phase trial for the admitted Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School gunman ended with a jury's finding for sentencing. The judge read it.
The jury unanimously find that the aggravating factors are sufficient to warrant a possible death sentence. Yes.
But she also read how at least one juror in each count did find the mitigating factors to outweigh the aggravating ones. And that means they recommend life in prison for Nicholas Cruz, not death. Victims' families were outraged. Ilan Aldahef's daughter, Alyssa, was killed at the school.
So that means that everyone that has a mental illness should go on a killing spree? That's what we're telling this society?
In Miami, Eben Brown, Fox News.
And Governor DeSantis was at an event that had nothing to do with this, but he wanted to pause and make his thoughts known. And here's what Governor DeSantis had to say.
I think that if you have a death penalty at all, that is a case where you're massacring those students with premeditation and utter disregard for basic humanity, that you deserve the death penalty. And so the jurors came back. Apparently it was 11-1 with one holdout refusing to authorize the ultimate punishment. And that means that this killer is going to end up getting a same sentence of people who've committed bad acts, but acts that did not rise to this level. I just don't think anything else is appropriate except the capital sentence in this case. And so I was very disappointed to see that. I'm also disappointed that we're 4.5 years after these killings, and we're just now getting this. They used to do this. He would have been executed in 6 months. He's guilty. Everybody knew that from the beginning, and yet it takes years and years in this legal system that is not serving the interests of victims. So I was very disappointed to see that.
Okay, a couple things. Let me tell you where I completely agree with Governor DeSantis, is that if you're going to have a death penalty, this is exactly what it's for.
Yes.
And I'm skeptical of trusting the government in a lot of capital cases, but there is absolutely no question as to who did this crime. We know that. So I do believe the death penalty is an appropriate penalty for the most heinous of crimes like this. The only thing I'm going to disagree with him on, and you all know I'm a big fan of Ron DeSantis, is that if you're dealing with a capital case and the potential for a death penalty, you better take every possible moment to make sure you are getting it right, because there is no coming back from that. And the justice system should serve victims, but in the end, the justice system is about justice overall. So all of those things have to be in there together as well. But the point that the governor is making in overall is absolutely this is exactly the kind of thing that the death penalty should be used for. And the death penalty should be incredibly rare, but this is exactly why you have it.
Yeah, I take his point too, that I think what he was trying to say was that justice should be speedy, and in this particular case, because there wasn't it wasn't a question of whether or not he did it. I mean, it was really just it was procedural to get to the guilty verdict,
right?
And then there was the determination of the sentence, and that's where I think yes, deliberation needs to be up and up, but 4 years is exorbitant. I mean, obviously, 6 months is too. I think that's a little
too fast.
That's a little sporty. But 4 years,
you're getting into Wild West days. Who did it? He did it. He stole my cow. String him up.
String him up. Yeah,
you
exactly.
Don't want that.
No, we don't want that. But and to your point, Mike, I'm in total agreement that I do think this is the type of case for the death penalty that and while we should be skeptical of the government's administration of the death penalty, I think there are some crimes or some levels or some thresholds of proof that are easily met in many of these cases, and they just kind of languish, and we don't exercise the power that the government is supposed to have in executing justice by getting rid of these people from our society, so we don't have to take care of them for the rest of their lives.
And I think this is built for that type of a situation. And I know the people that lost the loved ones, they're wanting immediate gratification of his death. They want him off the face of the earth. But I've also heard the other side of it, where him spending the next 60, 70 years in jail is a bad sentence to go through. And so I'm kind of the opinion, I'd like to see him go, but at the same time, I know it's going to cost us a lot of money too to keep him, but having him spend all that time in jail is not a bad thing.
You got a guy in his early mid-20s, something like that, and he could absolutely live 60, 70 years in prison. Here's the only hesitation I have on that, is that he's likely going to be sentenced, and the jury recommends life in prison without the possibility of parole. Okay, that's assuming we don't change the laws and we don't get people like a lot of these fringe leftists in vast majorities or in governorships who do change the rules down the road and say, well, they've been rehabilitated and they've paid their price. And you can't tell me that even a life sentence without the possibility of parole does not actually preclude a tiny chance that he could be let out at the end of his life.
And I agree with that, except for the fact that considering his particular case, when he's sitting in front of a parole board, and I don't care if it's 50 years from now, they're going to say, well, he did kill so many people. I mean, yes, there is a chance, but,
let's hope they say
Let's hope they say, yeah.
Whenever we say, okay, well, in the future, I don't think anybody's ever going to... Did 5 years ago you think we were ever going to be where we are as a society today?
Look at Hinckley. I didn't think he'd ever see the light of day again.
He shouldn't have.
So that's the thing. It's like I'm not going to rely on future generations to get this right. It's
Yeah, so they're going to give the sentence. The jury's going to give, they've recommended the sentence. He has to stay in prison the rest of his life. He's not allowed to have parole, but that's assuming the laws and the rules don't change 20, 30, 40, 50 years down the road.
50 years from now, we might have a purge. Who knows?
Possibly. Okay, 314-912-1019. Just ahead, I found an interesting news story on apparently one of the side effects of overturning Roe versus Wade is that somehow men are now saying, well, maybe I need to be more responsible about my behavior. And it's being painted like they're victims in this somehow. This is insane. But anyway, imagine that. Personal responsibility as a prelude to simply disposing human life. I'll tell you what's going on around 7:34 here on 101.9 94.1 News Talk STL.
Watch us on our live stream using Rumble, Facebook, and Twitter. For podcast articles and more, find us on NewstalkSTL.com. Get up, St. Louis. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, 99.1 HD3 and NewstalkSTL.com. Decision 22 News.
Inflation, gas prices.
Decision 22 Analysis.
The things the American people want to hear about.
Decision 22 Opinion.
Same old tired talking points.
In St. Louis, Decision 2022 happens right here. News Talk STL.
From the News Talk STL newsroom, I'm Joey Vasovich. A judge dismissed a lawsuit yesterday challenging Missouri's newly enforced photo ID law for elections. Because of the lawsuit's dismissal, Missouri's photo ID laws will remain in place for the upcoming November 8th election. The FBI is warning drivers for apps like Uber and Lyft to take extra precautions after 7 carjacking incidents in East St. Louis since June. According to the FBI, people are using fake profiles to hide their identity when requesting pickups. When the driver arrives, they steal their car and often leave them without their phone or wallet. Classes at KIPP St. Louis High School were canceled this week and will move online for another week to tighten security after weapons were found on campus. A student brought a gun last week to the charter school at 706 North Jefferson Avenue in the downtown West neighborhood, the third time a weapon has been discovered this fall. A Jefferson County man who opened fire on law enforcement attempting to serve an eviction notice in 2019 has received a sentence of 320 years. The man fired at 4 officers with an SKS rifle, striking one of the state troopers and a deputy. The man was arrested following an 8-hour standoff. And in sports, Union Station will be hosting the Free Blues Home Opener Rally on Saturday from 3 to 5 p.m. Highlights include live music, street hockey stations, and appearances from Al McInnes, Chairman Tom Stillman, and Louie. For in-depth coverage of these stories and more, go to NewstalkSTL.com.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Traffic Center.
Doing very well this morning. Just check the Bridge Complex downtown. Everything still looks wide open. There's some volume on 55 northbound running up towards Germania and Virginia in the work zone, but that's about it. 70 westbound at Zumbel, they already have the left lane closed for road work, but eastbound 70 is fine this morning. This report sponsored by Blindster. For new blinds or shades, go to Blindster.com. Custom-made blinds, shades, and shutters shipped right to you at prices less than the big box retailers. Blindster blinds are easy to install and they're guaranteed to fit. Don't overpay for new blinds. Shop today and save big at Blindster.com. I'm Joe Sonderman from the News Talk STL Traffic Center.
From the News Talk STL Weather Center.
It's a chilly morning out there under clear skies. Some of the outlying areas could get near freezing, but another windy day on tap with a red flag warning for fire danger. 71 the high under partly cloudy skies. 40s tonight, a cold morning tomorrow again, 65 degrees on Saturday, 67 on Sunday, not as windy over the weekend, and a chance for a widespread freeze early next week across the area. I'm KMOV First Alert meteorologist Kent Earhart.
Are you downright disgusted with the corruption of our Democratic leadership at St. Louis City Hall that's been reported in the news?
Hi, this is Mary Teresa McLean, chair of the Republican Party City of St. Louis. If you want to put our city that we all love back on track, you must get involved. If you're ready to be part of the solution, we invite you. Come and meet us. Learn more at stlouisrepublicans.com.
Paid for by St. Louis City Republican PAC. Curtis Farber, Treasurer.
Oh, Adam, you are so romantic. And I love the kitchen you found with all these great crumbs.
Yeah, baby. Only the finest crumbs in the kitchen for my favorite aunt. Oh, no. It's the pest control company again with those green wheels. They always kill the mood.
This is Derek, the owner of All Solutions Pest Control. Give us a call today at 636-486-7888. We'd love to help you out. Learn more about our special $67 offer. You can visit us online at allsolutionspestcontrol.com.
If a pest-free home is your goal, call All Solutions Pest Control.
Michael's Flooring Outlet is a locally owned and operated family business for more than 28 years, featuring exclusive products, unbeatable prices, and expert installation. You can choose from a wide variety of flooring options, including carpet, hardwood, laminate, ceramic tile, luxury vinyl, natural stone, plus many other options. And you'll gain a peace of mind knowing that your flooring and carpet installation will be done right the first time when you hire the experts at Michael's. You can shop in-store at one of their 3 convenient locations or shop from home online. Check out everything Michael's Flooring has to offer at igotfloored.com.
For $1 a day, if any covered appliance breaks in your home, we guarantee to fix or replace it. All makes and models, washers, dryers, refrigerators, air conditioners, and more. Guaranteed to be fixed or replaced for $1 a day. Call the Home Service Club now for free information.
800-399-3701. 800-399-3701. 800-399-3701. That's 800-399-3701.
Free speech is alive and well in America.
Sometimes it's hard to know what's real and what isn't.
Right here.
The country is heading in the wrong direction under this president.
We're suffering shortages. America's running out of everything.
News Talk STL. News, analysis, opinion. Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019. This is Mike Ferguson in the morning. Made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL.
Today's show is brought to you by Halloween, the only national holiday where it's still politically correct to ask, hobo or sexy nurse?
Yeah, okay, fair enough. All right, it's 7:37. I'm Mike Ferguson with Gabe Pfeiffer and Ken Williams. Of course, speaking of spooky stuff, we've got this week's edition of Not Today, Satan coming your way in about 13 minutes. Is there a theme this week?
No theme, but I'm bringing some spooky back.
There we go.
Oh,
All right.
good.
So we'll have that right around 7:50. I saw this story, and it's one of those AP articles, so it was published on a bunch of different news outlets. And it is Missouri specific, St. Louis specific, really, because Missouri and Illinois are both attached on the abortion issue. And it tells the story of a man we're supposed to feel sorry for. Okay? So a guy by the name of Denny Dalliance. That can't be his real name.
Oh,
Dalliance.
Denny.
Yeah. And he's the feature of this story by the AP, talking about the hardships that he's got because he just feel like his hand is being forced because of the ruling that overturned Roe versus Wade. And so he's made the very, very difficult decision to get a vasectomy. Yes.
Oh, no.
Personal responsibility. Imagine that. And I look at this article, and we know that there has been an increase in inquiries about vasectomies. Apparently, Planned Parenthood is actually doing one tiny thing that is useful in offering some free vasectomies coming up here in another, I don't know, couple months or a couple weeks, I guess, or so. Then they're going to offer 60 vasectomies to guys who can't otherwise afford them or don't have the insurance coverage to do it. Great.
Yes.
That's fantastic. It's the one time I'll say good on you there, PP.
I agree with sterilizing liberals.
That's right. But here, like, for instance, I'm looking at this, the quotes that they've got of this guy, and I think it is, I don't mean to pick on this guy. He's a truck driver, and it's just assumed that he's in a precarious position that because abortion may not be legal in Missouri, that he could possibly be on the hook for apparently throwing himself out there all over the place. I mean, that's really how this is politely written. He is quoted as saying it's a very particular, oh, I'm sorry, that's a different quote. But he is quoted, let me get the quote here. Oh, yeah. He says he doesn't want the responsibility of birth control on partners anymore, especially with abortions hard to get. So apparently he's looking at abortion as birth control.
Mm-hmm.
He says that, I'm going to quote him here, I don't want to come off as though I'm like unhappy to be doing this, but this is a situation where my hand kind of got forced with regards to the Roe versus Wade decision. I feel like that with the extreme cost involved with having a child in the United States, I kind of got priced out. And so this is me cashing out my chips, as it were. It's the right ethical decision for me, but it's not one that's made lightly. So, geez, it could be expensive to follow up on the consequences of my own actions. And can you believe those bad people forced me into making this decision to prevent something like this from happening? Well, here's an idea. You can, first of all, prevent it from happening by keeping it in your pants, or by taking basic, birth control measures. Go to the pharmacy or Walmart and you can take care of this. But the fact that you're getting a vasectomy, good. That's fantastic. But to point it out saying, well, this Roe versus Wade thing forced my hand
mm-hmm.
So in other words, I didn't have to worry about it before because we can always rip up a baby and throw it in the trash.
Right. And it's ridiculous too. And what the other thing that kind of gets me about this is actually an area where responsibility had always fallen on the woman. Okay, you have to get rid of it. You have to go through the procedure. I'll give you some money, but you have to go take care of this. But now the responsibility is on the man, and they're making it sound as though it's somehow backwards. You know what I mean? Like this is a step backwards in women's liberation, except now a man actually has to take responsibility.
Imagine that.
Yeah. Hey, don't shoot up the club, bud.
That was a good way to put it. Yeah, I mean, I think he said not to be taken lightly. Well, he's taken it lightly. I mean, he's always been taking it lightly.
He was before, yeah.
Before it was like really lightly. I mean, when you can say, well, yeah, we're just using abortion as a contraceptive. No, you shouldn't ever be taking that lightly.
Yeah, see, I think this is showing, first of all, a good thing that there are more men suddenly checking out vasectomies. In response to that court decision, tells me that they frankly had such a phenomenal disrespect for the women that they were with and the lives that they could possibly be created, saying, "Oh well, boy, if something goes wrong, I guess we could just abort.
Just take care of it."
Yeah, just take care of it.
If you look at the big picture of this thing and see it evolutionary wise, I mean, you could see that the left is probably eventually going to disappear anyway, because you've got major abortions on the left, and you've also got guys with now getting their tubes tied.
Yeah.
So,
but that's why they had to capture the institutions so they can get our kids.
Yeah.
True.
That's why that's why public education's gone the way that it's gone, and the academy has gone the way that it's gone.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't mean to get too TMI out there, but I had one before Rachel and I got married.
Yeah.
We just made a decision that I was in my mid 40s, and she was I think right at 40 when we got married. And so we just made a decision at our ages. I've already got 2 kids. She's already got 2 kids. We just did not want to have more children. And so I just said, the easier path on this is for me to do this vasectomy.
Yeah.
Is it fun? No, but it's not the end of the world. It's really not that bad, guys. And for those who are saying, yeah, but I can just go out and, spend a little bit of money and have her take care of it, get rid of it, is such sick thinking. So when I hear about Planned Parenthood saying, man, we're doing so many more vasectomies right now, I say good.
Yeah.
Absolutely
good job.
Good. Without question. I mean, the idea that this is painted by media as, such a terrible position to put him in. Really?
Yeah.
How about the position that he's putting other lives in by not being responsible?
Like a baby.
Yeah,
like a baby.
Yeah, I mean, imagine the scenario in which he does get, he would have gotten some lady pregnant. Now he says, okay, well, here's a couple $100. Go hit the Planned Parenthood. Now you have you end up with a dead child and a traumatized woman, because statistics show abortions create trauma. So he regarded that as the easy choice. He regarded that as the fail-safe for his problem.
And it's selfish choice.
Absolutely selfish. And now it's grim to have to do something on his own. That's ridiculous. And it shows that the mentality that erupted from Roe v. Wade being the law of the land.
And notice that he said that the extreme cost of raising a child as opposed to, boy, I don't know if I want to rear a family and be a father. I mean, it's all about, boy, this thing is going to be expensive. So the more vasectomies, the better, as far as I'm concerned.
Yes, especially for guys like this.
Yeah, particularly. And listen, for everybody else, I mean, if you're in that spot in life, hey, it's something that is a valid. You don't have to be a liberal for this. I mean, obviously, I'm not, and it was a smart decision for us in my household. But the idea that you're reducing it to cost.
Yeah.
And I've actually heard liberal politicians argue that, well, abortion is an economic factor because of the cost of rearing a child. This is not a cost. This is a life. You're reducing it to a number. No wonder it's so easy for you to try to dispose of a human life by throwing it in the trash, because you've reduced it to that.
Yeah. Here's hoping that what is it, Dobbs? Dobbs kind of changes culture back just as much as Roe v. Wade changed it in the wrong direction.
Absolutely. With all this talk about women having bodily autonomy, hey guys, why don't you step up and have that as well? This would not be an issue if half of the problem, which are irresponsible men in addition to the irresponsible women, but if the irresponsible men would take care of their own responsibility, then we wouldn't have so much of an issue. I would love to see this question settled culturally with a culture of life, even with liberals saying, you know what, let's just do what we can to prevent a pregnancy in the first place instead of chopping it up later. So at least this is a positive outcome of it.
Yeah.
Personal responsibility. Imagine that.
All these weak-ass guys that can't even keep a woman from getting pregnant. I mean, come on. That's in the first place.
Yeah, I mean, I don't understand guys that want to be that risky and want to be that irresponsible. I just don't get it. So the more free vasectomies Planned Parenthood gives out, the better. The more your insurance covers it, the better. Personal responsibility is never a bad thing.
Amen.
And it's being forced. If that's forcing your hands, so be it. Good. Another reason that was the right decision. All right, 314-912-1019. But just ahead, we've got Gabe Pfeiffer and today's Not Today, Satan.
For podcast articles and more, find us on NewstalkSTL.com. You're listening to Mike Ferguson in the morning. Made in St. Louis, for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL. From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Traffic Center.
Crews on the scene of a crash on Cave Springs Road at Truman. It's not really affecting too much in the way of traffic. Just use a little caution there. 55 north, you're backing up Germania to Virginia. That is a brief delay. It's lighter than usual. 70 westbound at Zumbel. We do have the left lane already closed for construction work this morning. 64 east, you've got a busy pocket approaching Clarkson. One more time, Ballast to Spady. And it's busy, but it's moving in through McKnight and Hanley. Bridges downtown are just fine so far. This report sponsored by Blindster. Save on new blinds at Blindster.com. Custom-made blinds, shades, and shutters shipped right to you at prices less than the big box retailers. Shop Blindster now and save 45% off any order. Just use the code RADIO. Offer ends soon, so shop today at Blindster.com. I'm Joe Sonderman from the News Talk STL Traffic Center.
The Vic Borselli Show.
Friday at 9:25, we will read you the document that 51 intelligence agencies signed about Russian disinformation concerning the Hunter laptop.
Weekday mornings at 9 on News Talk STL.
If you are on Medicare, you need to listen to this message. Open enrollment for all Medicare participants starts October 15th. This is a very critical time of the year for you to make needed changes to your plan.
This is Mike Butts with MB Health Insurance Agency. Regardless if you are new or renewing your health insurance, the process can be confusing and very time-consuming. MB Health is local here in St. Louis, and we will handle your enrollment quickly, properly, and effectively. Find us on the web at mbhealth.com.
MB Health can also help small businesses find the perfect medical coverage for their employees. That's mbhealth.com.
Start a podcast for your business today with Epic STL Podcasts. Engage existing and potential customers, build trust in your brand, and drive traffic to your business. Log on to NewstalkSTL.com and click on the Epic STL Podcast button to learn more.
Packages start at $29.99 a month with sign agreement. Restrictions apply. Speak to a representative for complete offer details. See Vivint.com for license details. Terms and conditions apply.
Homeowners, if you're looking for the best in home security and smart home technology at a price you can actually afford, we have great news. Now you can get Vivint's award-winning home security systems starting at about $1 a day. U.S. News and World Report has recognized Vivint as the best professionally installed home security system of 2022. And right now, you can get Vivint's home security technology for about $1 a day. Plus, get free professional installation from a licensed technician. Protect your home and loved ones for as low as $1 a day. Call right now for your free home security consultation.
800-561-3405. 800-561-3405. 800-561-3405. That's 800-561-3405.
So, how are the kids?
Well, Emily made the honor roll.
Oh, good for her.
Yeah, we're really proud of her. Tyler, on the other hand, though.
What's going on?
He's been moody lately, just feeling down and not like himself.
Oh, we've been there. Nick was struggling last spring. He was so anxious and stressed.
Really? What helped?
Well, he joined the soccer team. And ever since, he's been a lot happier. He has more energy, he's less stressed, and he's definitely in a better mood at home. It's made a huge difference.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm glad he's getting out of the house, he's getting some exercise, and he's off his phone for once. It's been good for his mental health.
Sounds like it's been good for your mental health, too.
Participating in Missouri high school sports improves students' physical and mental health. Encourage your son or daughter to get involved. This message presented by the MSHSAA and the Missouri Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
St. Louis's new choice for conservative talk.
We need change in our country right now.
Live and local.
They clubbed us over the head for 2 years.
Yep. You run corruption. This is how we get corruption.
This is News Talk STL. Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019. Get up, St. Louis. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, 99.1 HD3 and NewstalkSTL.com.
At 8:05, I've got maybe a Freudian slip from a congressperson from Minnesota. Of course, they just say, hey, it was a gaffe. She got her words mixed up. But I say Freudian slip.
Yes.
I say fun. Either way.
Definitely want to hear this at 8:04. All right, I'm Mike Ferguson. It is 7:51, and it is Friday, and it's 7:51, which means, Gabe, you take it over.
It's the weird, the wacky, and the worrisome. These are the stories that make you say.
Look all the devil.
Oh, hell no.
This can't be happening, man. This ain't happening.
Devil.
There's only way to be sure.
Not today, Satan. Not today. Amen.
Amen. A former pub turned hotel requires that guests sign a waiver to stay. Not because of the terrible food, but because of the ghosts. Oh, yeah. A whole host of spooky goings-on have been reported at the Hanbury Arms in Pontypool, Wales. I love the names over there.
Pontypool, Wales.
In Pontypool. Including whispers, singing, whistling, footsteps, glass smashing, and lights turning on and off. Now, none of it being done by anyone living, of course. Of course.
Sign me up.
Yes, I knew this would be right up your alley.
Oh, yeah.
You're signing that waiver twice. Guests have said that their feet were tickled in bed by ghosts, and a rocking horse is said to have rocked all on its own.
Can I just point out that if you think you've got a haunted pub or a haunted hotel, if you're putting a rocking horse in there, that's because you want that to happen.
That's
right.
Yeah.
Yes.
You want things to move around. Exactly. Now, among the many spirits said to live there are children, a hangman, and a sinister black shadow that lurks in the cellar.
Get behind me, Satan!
He's probably already back there. For Welsh couple Tracy and Nigel Turner, all the above were reasons why this property was a perfect home for them. Even the coffins in the cellar didn't put the couple off, and if anything, it made them even more keen to make the purchase. So the property was a perfect fit for Tracy and Nigel's home and paranormal bed and breakfast needs.
I think Tracy and Nigel could be my friends.
Oh yes, they were excited by that whole prospect. So, and you can go and stay there. So that's pretty awesome. Okay.
In the coffins downstairs.
And the coffins downstairs. Now, in our second story here, of all the contraband one might expect to find in a middle school bathroom, the last thing would be what was spotted in a stall in a California school. A coyote.
Could it be Satan?
Ooh. A coyote. Not the guy who smuggles people.
Okay, I just wanted to clarify that.
Yeah,
Yes,
exactly.
yes.
Okay. An actual animal. Okay,
Yeah.
so Riverside
Not used
County
to it.
Animal Services posted a video to YouTube showing what happened when Officer Will Luna responded to Mission Middle School in Riverside on a report of a coyote in the bathroom. The coyote had been spotted near the school multiple times in recent weeks, but Monday morning marked the first time it had wandered onto the school grounds and the first time it entered the building. So the video shows Luna encountering the coyote in a bathroom stall and successfully ensnaring the animal with a lasso.
Wait a minute. How does a coyote get into the building?
I don't know. Do they have like a paw swipe? It's like click.
Okay.
Yeah, people can't get into these buildings, and then somehow an animal did.
Okay,
left
coyotes
the
are
door open.
actually not that big,
Yeah, they're kind of like medium-sized dogs at
but
best.
you do not want to mess with them.
They are quite vicious for
Yes,
their size.
absolutely.
So we are pleased that this incident was smooth and all the children were okay. We were able to get the coyote back to its more natural habitat.
I'm just saying a third grader would make a big meal for a coyote.
Yes.
You do
yes.
not want to mess with those
It
things.
was actually a scary situation for a middle school to have a coyote. Now, the coyote looked pretty scared himself sitting in that bathroom stall, but it all worked out. Now, in our last story here, this is actually a very old story, but I found it fascinating. In 1979, researchers unearthed the mummified body of a 55,000-year-old steppe bison in the Alaskan tundra. Shortly after that, they sliced off a piece of its neck and ate it.
Hell no.
to the no, no, no. Yeah, to the no.
Okay, I've heard of aged beef.
Aged bison.
But what?
55,000 years of aging. Now, it was first discovered by gold prospectors and nicknamed the Blue Babe. They reported their findings to Dale Guthrie of the University of Alaska Fairbanks, who led an excavation team that actually, fully exposed it. Muscle, skin, all of it was in impeccable shape. And Guthrie decided to throw a dinner party with a portion of the Blue Babe's neck as the main course.
Well, isn't that special?
Then why is there an expiration date on the meat I buy at the grocery store?
Yeah.
Well, see, this was perfectly preserved. So, for 55,000 years. Now, they made a nice, tasty vegetable stew and then added the bison meat to it. So, describing the experience, Guthrie's wife, Mary Lee, later on a podcast said, it basically wrecked the soup, adding the beef to it. Now, if you've ever lost anything in your freezer for 10 years, well,
yeah,
about the same.
So, yeah, I wonder what it tasted like. That would
She said it was gamey and it kind of dehydrated beef jerky sort of texture.
Wow.
And she said it ruined the soup.
No, God, please, no.
No. That's awful.
It is pretty horrific.
I mean, here's the thing. What goes through somebody's head that says, look at how old this thing is, amazing how, what should we do with it? I know, chop it up and cook it.
Let's taste it.
How does that go through somebody's head?
I actually could see, it would go through my head out of curiosity to taste a piece.
Now, see, this guy, Mr. Guthrie here, is an expert in, ancient animal life and things like that. So maybe it's just curiosity. Because this is the first opportunity to see what beef from an ancient animal would be like versus beef that we get from a farm. So
Probably really robust.
Yeah, it has a robust flavor. Yes. Now, besides that, the party was lovely. Now, if anyone tries to serve me some Jurassic roadkill, you know what I'm saying.
Look all the devil.
Oh, hell no.
This can't be happening, man. This ain't happening. Devil.
It's the only way to be sure.
Not today, Satan. Not today. Amen.
You know what's even scarier than that are Congress critters who actually say what they mean out loud and call it a gaffe. Okay, it probably was a gaffe, but it's really funny, probably Freudian. I'll let you hear it at 8:04 right here on 101.9 94.1 News Talk STL.
Does your current bathroom need to be updated immediately? Introducing One Day Bath and Shower Remodeling, the complete and hassle-free way to get the new bathroom of your dreams in as little as 1 day and for as little as $199 a month. Yes, the experts at One Day Bath and Shower Remodeling will come to you anywhere in the country and show you all the customized options. Now you can have a brand new bathroom in as little as 1 day. Large or small bathrooms, if you want a new bathtub or shower installed, we can do it in as little as 1 day. And if you call right now, you can save $750 off your remodel. We make it easy by offering you financing as low as $199 per month. Call now to schedule your free in-home consultation.
855-672-1566. 855-672-1566. That's 855-672-1566.
Since 2007, the state of Missouri and local governments have handed out almost $5 billion in tax subsidies or abatements to private developers. That money could have gone to basic services like schools and public safety. And studies show these subsidies don't produce the promised jobs and growth. If developers want to build a sports stadium or shopping mall, why should they be given our tax dollars to do it? It's time to reform economic development subsidies. The Show Me message has been brought to you by Show Me Institute and Show Me Opportunity.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefontaine, KNVS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 101.9, 94.1, and always streaming at NewstalkSTL.com.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. The latest update on retail sales, not encouraging. Sales were flat last month as inflation takes a toll on American household budgets. Consumer spending is a key driver of the U.S. economy. A stroll along one of the city's walking trails turned deadly yesterday afternoon for 5 people in Raleigh, North Carolina. They were shot and killed.
Today has been a very difficult day in our city. You know, you pray that something like this will never happen here. It did.
Raleigh Mayor Marianne Baldwin's remarks aired by WTVD. A suspect described by police as a juvenile male is under arrest. Embattled British Prime Minister Liz Truss parting ways with her Treasury chief. She's struggling to calm jittery markets and hang on to her job following the release of a controversial economic plan. Russia continues to target critical infrastructure across Ukraine, a strategy it launched on Monday.
Multiple Russian missile strikes shook the Zaporizhzhia region capital overnight Thursday as the city continues to be a focal point while Ukraine pushes its counter-offensive on the southern front. Zaporizhzhia's regional governor says several explosions have been reported in the city overnight at infrastructure facilities, causing fires. Russian forces have struck the regional capital and surrounding area continuously in recent days and weeks, creating concerns about the safety of the nearby nuclear power plant. I'm Charles Dilladesma.
North Korea fired a ballistic missile and hundreds of artillery shells toward the sea earlier today. It also flew warplanes near the tense border with South Korea. It was North Korea's 15th missile launch since it resumed testing September 25th. Dow futures up 89 points. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Hi, I'm Al Abaroa, founder of Knight Strategic Wealth. Inflation is a problem, markets are volatile, and the risk of running out of money in retirement is real. That's why I love annuities, and you should too. Your financial advisor doesn't want you to know that with our annuity strategy, when the stock market goes up, you earn a market-linked return that locks in every year, and when the stock market goes down, your annuity won't lose a dime. There are no unnecessary fees, and it works for your investments, money at a brokerage firm, or even money at a bank. It's simple, it's safe, and you should only invest if you learn the facts, and that's why savvy investors work with us. Want to learn more? Text FREE to 833-898-0500 and we'll send our retirement readiness kit directly to your phone right now. If you want to use safe, low-fee annuities to build a retirement portfolio that will go up with the market and never lose money, get our retirement readiness kit today and see how this strategy can help secure your future. Text FREE to 833-898-0500. Text FREE to 833-898-0500.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Traffic Center.
In pretty good shape. I just see a few slow spots. Add 5 minutes to your commute. 55 northbound between Carondelet and Gasconade. Add a minute or so on 64 eastbound coming in towards Olive and the Chesterfield Parkway. And another minute or so coming in through McKnight and Big Bend. 70 eastbound is fine. Headed for the Blanchette. 270 in North County is okay. 44 eastbound starting to crowd. Lindbergh in through Big Bend. Bridges downtown look just fine. This report is sponsored by USA and Sci-Fi's Chucky. I'm Joe Sonderman from the News Talk STL Traffic Center.
A new season is here, and with it, major delays being reported due to another killer doll with a shady plan. Just how many Chuckies are there? Chucky is here to chuck stuff up, including our freeways. Chucky Season 2, Wednesdays 9/8 Central, only on USA and Sci-Fi.
From the News Talk STL Weather Center.
It's a chilly morning out there under clear skies. Some of the outlying areas could get near freezing, but another windy day on tap with a red flag warning for fire danger. 71 the high under partly cloudy skies. 40s tonight, a cold morning tomorrow again. 65 degrees on Saturday, 67 on Sunday. Not as windy over the weekend, and a chance for a widespread freeze early next week across the area. I'm KMOV First Alert Meteorologist Kent Earhart.
This hour of News Talk STL brought to you by House Sold Easy. Looking to sell a house fast? Call David today at 314-293-3000. That's David with House Sold Easy at 314-293-3000.
Does your current bathroom need to be updated immediately? Introducing One Day Bath and Shower Remodeling, the complete and hassle-free way to get the new bathroom of your dreams in as little as 1 day and for as little as $199 a month. Yes, the experts at One Day Bath and Shower Remodeling will come to you anywhere in the country and show you all the customized options. Now you can have a brand new bathroom in as little as 1 day. Large or small bathrooms, if you want a new bathtub or shower installed, we can do it in as little as 1 day. And if you call right now, you can can save $750 off your remodel. We make it easy by offering you financing as low as $199 per month. Call now to schedule your free in-home consultation.
855-672-1566. 855-672-1566. That's 855-672-1566.
This is News Talk STL. News, analysis, and opinion from the voices you know and trust. News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and newstalkstl.com. Mike Ferguson.
This is the kind of adventure I usually have to force upon us, and here it is, falling into our laps.
Gabe Pfeiffer.
They're buying it.
Get up, can't you hear the alarm?
Get up, St. Louis.
Why don't you pop a squat, son?
Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
Get up, this is your cousin God.
I want to start off this hour by saying you guys have really let me down here.
How's that?
I'm not talking to the News Talk Nation listing. I'm talking to Gabe and Ken right now.
Oh, no.
Okay, so
What'd I do?
I'm leaving the station yesterday, and I'm leaving just as Katie Fitzpatrick's walking in.
Mm-hmm.
And, this is, everybody knows she's going on maternity leave here after this week. I think she's...
Today's her last day, yeah.
Today's her last day until after the first of the year because she's going to have a baby.
Yep.
She's preggers.
She's doing like 4 days.
She brought a box of donuts in.
Mm-hmm.
And she offered me one because I was leaving, and I said yes. And she goes, "Do you want one?" I said, "Yes, I do, but I'm trying to be disciplined because I'm trying to get in better shape and work out and all that kind of stuff." And so I came in this morning, and there were still some donuts there. And I told Ken, and then I later told you not to air all of our dirty laundry, that I really need you guys to eat these donuts so that I don't eat the donuts.
Right. We have to help you out.
Yeah, and there's still a donut there, so somebody's falling down on the job.
Hey, I had my one.
I had my one.
Somebody
and only because it's Friday, and I can cheat. Today's my cheat day.
Need somebody to take one for the team here, okay?
Yep.
And by the team, I mean do for me what I can't do for myself, because I'm worried about giving in and eating the donut.
Okay. Well,
I say give in.
You twisted my arm.
Okay, go get the donut and eat the donut.
I got you, bro. I'll just spend a little more time on the treadmill tonight.
Thank you. All right. Okay, by the way, it's 8:07. That's Gabe, and that's Ken over here. I'm Mike Ferguson. Sometimes the Congress critters actually say it out loud, even if they don't mean to, if you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a U.S. representative named Angie Craig in Minnesota. She's a Democrat, and this is one of those districts that is considered to be vulnerable for Democrats. Her Republican opponent is a guy named Tyler Kistner. I don't know anything about either one of them, but in this televised debate that they were having, she's talking about her record on keeping prices down and fighting for the American people, and then she turns around and emphatically,
so great,
says this:
I will never stop standing up for Big Pharma and standing against my constituents.
And see, the best part about it, okay, there's the first half. Standing up for Big Pharma. And then there's a pause. That pause is her realizing what she just said, I think.
Yeah, probably.
And her brain doing you got to fix this. What are you going to say next? And then she stumbles. I mean, and that's bad enough if you just take it on face value. I'm standing up for Big Pharma. And then she takes it a step further and standing against my constituents.
Which I think is absolutely worse than standing up for Big Pharma. The people who are going to hire me, I'm standing up against you.
Thanks for the job, but I
F
like
you.
Yeah, but F you. Exactly.
But F you, yeah.
So is this an obvious gap? Yes. Clearly, that's not what she meant to say. But based on the left's policies, that's pretty much what they've been doing.
Yeah, we get to make fun of you because of that. I mean, if nothing else, you guys get to talk about all of the gaffes, all of the misspeaks on our side, even when you know that that's not what was meant.
Right.
Well, turnabout is fair play, y'all.
That's right. So should I do it again just for fun?
Yes, I need to hear it again.
Ladies and gentlemen, U.S. Representative Angie Craig.
I will never stop standing up for Big Pharma and standing against my constituents.
The really funny part of that video is her opponent who's sitting right next to her. And while you're talking about that moment where her brain was going crazy, oh my gosh, what did I just say?
He has a smirk.
Oh, he does. But he knows he can't overdo it. And so he just kind of sits back and you can see him going.
You got to hold it in.
And he's kind of like, okay, don't gloat. And he's just kind of sitting back, and you can see him like, I mean, it's almost like he was biting his tongue or biting his lip. Inflict pain so I don't laugh, that kind of thing.
Well, yeah, it's basically, you want to laugh at the silly joke in your head at the funeral, but you have to keep it in because it's a totally inappropriate time to respond the way you really want to.
Well, I think he was thinking that he didn't want to destroy the clip. If he would have responded right then, it would have ruined it, you know? So he's just like going, okay, keep going.
Well,
keep going.
And when your opponent is digging a hole for themselves, stay out of the way.
Yeah.
Let them keep digging.
Yes. Never interrupt your enemy when they're making a mistake.
Now, if someone asks her about it and she said, no, I stand behind what I said. Oh, well, then there's a problem.
Yeah, then you got ready-made television ads.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Just a sidebar, if you guys outlive me and you go to my funeral, if nobody laughs at my funeral, somebody's done it wrong.
Okay.
All right?
All right.
I that's the way that I'm going to want to be, hopefully a long time from now. But that's the way, if everybody just does nothing but sob and cry, which I frankly couldn't imagine. I don't think that many people like me. But if there is not humor at my funeral, somebody did it wrong, and then I'm going to come back and haunt you, even though I don't believe that actually is a real thing. But if it is, I'll come back and do it.
Oh, okay.
All right. Just so you know. Okay, so just a header. Speaking of all this economic stuff, is it a matter of economic illiteracy? Is it a matter of gaslighting? Is it just a refusal to accept reality by the left? The answer is yes to all those things, I think. Fox News' Kevin Corke has the president's response to the new CPI inflation reports that came out yesterday that show that, things still really suck.
The latest CPI is out, and yikes, an 8.2% jump year over year. That is not good news. But the president obviously looking for a silver lining anywhere he could find one. Well, he thinks he may have found one.
Today's report shows, though, some progress. Overall, inflation was 2% over the last 3 months. That's down from 11% over the prior 3 months.
This as the average price nationwide for a gallon of regular unleaded is inching ever closer to $4.
Okay, Mom, but it's getting a little bit better. Usually the school bully punches me 20 times in the face every day, but he only punched me 10 times in the face today, so it's better.
It's better.
Mike, can you play just the very beginning up to where he says yikes?
Yeah.
The latest CPI is out, and yikes.
And yikes. I love that. And that you got that little newsman in there still. The latest CPI numbers are out, and yikes.
Yikes, ladies and gentlemen.
It's something you got to do in your throat. It's a little vocal fry thing. Yes.
It's radio voice guy.
I love the way Kevin Corke does, because he is like the least objective of the Fox reporters. He basically comes in and goes, okay, we know what the reality is. I'm just saying it. I'm conservative. I'm saying it. All the others are doing like the journalism right down the middle thing. But Kevin Corke is like, this guy sucks. I'm going to say it.
Yikes.
Yikes, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes. I'm going to start using that. It's like, yeah.
Yikes.
I'm going to save that. I was recording it when you did it. That's why I had to do it again.
Okay, here it is. Let me just get you one. I'm going to bring it up.
Yeah, hold on. I got to get hit.
There we go.
I'm just going to hit record here.
Live radio, folks.
Yeah.
You're going to hear this as what we would call a drop or a stinger. Ready?
An 8.2% jump year.
Nope, it went after. Here it is. Here it is. Ready?
Yikes.
There it is.
That's it.
I think that sums up like what the American people generally are saying at the end of the month is yikes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Every time you get a bill, every time you get the receipt coming off of the gas station, coming out of the grocery store, yikes.
But that yikes represents a lot of other colorful words.
We can say
that
yikes.
people have been saying.
Yes.
We can say yikes on the air.
Oh, sure.
Exactly.
I mean, I saw another report today, and we talked about this earlier in the week, and then the national news had a story on it this morning regarding the price of heating your home starting around December is likely to completely jump up, whether it's use natural gas or electricity, but particularly those who use natural gas, you can really expect higher gas prices, home heating prices over the summer.
Yikes.
And it's going to sting. You're going to notice the difference.
I thought I saw Ameren talking about like a 10% increase.
Spire, yeah.
Or Spire, yeah.
Yeah,
Ameren.
Spire.
Yeah,
Oh,
Spire.
yeah? Because the natural gas is going up. Can I just do an I told you so right here?
Yes.
Only if you say yikes first. No.
I need to do an I told you so because back in the summer, and I think gas prices were ticking down a little bit. The Biden administration was doing this kind of little victory lap for not sucking as bad as they usually do for a while there. They were trying to tell us, oh yeah, your summer barbecue is going to be just a hair cheaper than it was like 2 days ago. You know, they were doing this whole thing. I was like, no, prices are going to spike again at the end of the year, like towards the end of the year, right into maybe a little after election season. Everything's going up. Guess what's happening right now? Everything is going up. It's pretty much exactly like I said, and this is all predictable. It's not like I am a genius, but it's not like I'm a super genius that figured this thing, like I did a calculation. I just looked at what the Biden administration was doing, and this is a natural consequence of that.
Yeah, and one thing that they wanted to do is when they went to Saudi and they said that they said, screw you, Joe Biden, we're going to go ahead and decrease our production by 2 million barrels. He said, hey, listen, could you hold it off until after the election? That's the rumor right now, and I think that's a pretty good rumor.
And what they said was probably no, and then the president said,
"Yikes!"
And that's probably. Now I can see Joe saying "yikes." I can see him saying that.
Yeah, and he got really mad about it. Threw his tapioca on the floor.
Yep.
314.
You know, my old granddad used to say, "Yikes."
314-912-1019. Just ahead here, an anti-election integrity activist group loses in court. I'll tell you what happened there. And also, we've got a warning for Uber and Lyft drivers in the metro area. Some scary stuff happening, and it just crazy. We'll tell you about it around 8:20 here on 101.9, 94.1 News Talk STL.
Don't try to make me stop. No inspiration.
Get up, St. Louis. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL. From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Traffic Center.
It's been really light this morning. Just check 64 eastbound again. It is clear until you get to McKnight, and then it's just kind of busy headed through 170 at Big Bend. 55 north, just add a minute or so, coming up through Bates and Gasconade in the work zone. We are in good shape. 270 northbound, there's just a little tap of the brakes between Doherty Ferry and Manchester. Even that appears to be opening up. Bridge complex downtown is just fine. No issues coming in from Illinois at all. This report sponsored by Blindster. Do you need new blinds or shades? Blindster.com offers custom-made blinds, shades, and shutters shipped right to you at prices less than the big box retailers. Blindster blinds are easy to install and they're guaranteed to fit. Don't overpay for new blinds. Shop today and save big at Blindster.com. I'm Joe Sonderman. That is the very latest from the News Talk STL Traffic Center.
Do you live in St. Charles County? Then you can get Mid-Rivers News Magazine delivered free to your home just by asking for it. Mid-Rivers News Magazine is the only print source for the political, school, business, and sports news happening in your hometown. Simply visit midriversnewsmagazine.com/subscribe to get a copy delivered to your mailbox. Or pick up a free copy at all area Deerbergs and Schnuck stores. Mid-Rivers News Magazine. Anybody who wants it, gets it. Anybody who gets it, wants it. Subscribe for free today.
What if everything you thought and believed to be true about owning and buying your home turned out to be wrong?
Straightforward, objective advice on the right way to make the most out of every dollar you put into your home.
We're the only country that has one of those. Most other countries, considering like Canada, the UK, they don't have long-term fixed-rate mortgages like that. They're all variable-rate mortgages.
HomeWise with Michael Midget, Sunday mornings at 9 on News Talk STL.
Fox News commentary.
Joe Biden, the man who canceled the Keystone Pipeline on day one, is asking Saudi Arabia to stall oil cuts till after the midterms. I'm Tommy Lahren. More next.
Hi, I'm Lisa Booth for Bishop Gold Group. Are you worried about your financial future as retirement gets closer? All over the country, soon-to-be retirees are fearing for their financial future as markets remain volatile. Bishop Gold Group helps you invest in gold and gold IRAs to protect your wealth and retirement during times of high inflation and wild swings in the market. Secure your future today. Contact Bishop Gold Group by dialing pound 250 from a mobile phone and say the keyword Bishop Gold, or visit bishopgoldgroup.com.
Gas prices are crushing Americans right, left, and center, and our president should be working to bring them down for the sake of the people, not for the sake of his party's political vulnerability. But that's exactly what Joe Biden was caught doing. This week, the White House admitted to asking Saudi Arabia to delay the OPEC Plus vote to cut oil production until after November midterms. Wow, just wow. I guess it never occurred to these Democrats that bowing to foreign and often hostile nations to bring down fuel prices isn't the only option. We could and should be increasing domestic production, but instead, Biden and the green hair environmentalists are doing everything to tamp down on it. This administration is a national and global embarrassment. Everything they do is about gaining and maintaining their power. They don't give a hoot about the plight of the American people. I'm Tommy Lahren.
What happens next?
Democrats' reckless policies have stuck the American people with an inflation crisis, a border crisis, a violent crime crisis, and an energy crisis.
Happens right here.
We're going to get control of inflation.
1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL. Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019. This is Mike Ferguson in the morning. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, 99.1 HD3 and NewstalkSTL.com.
8:35. Turns out that gay Superman didn't go over real well in the market.
Oh, surprise, surprise.
Yeah, so we'll get Gabe's commentary on the comic book changes of Superman. I guess he's not like converting back. It's just they're doing away with the character.
Well, they're doing away with the comic that he starred in.
There you go.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's happening 8:35. So I don't even look at this as like a big victory against like woke media and stuff. I think the people just said gay, straight, otherwise just went, yeah, we're just not interested in that. I mean, if you want to sell me an entertainment product, just entertain me. Don't lecture me.
That's pretty much how it went.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll do that 8:35.
Okay.
8:35. All right. President Biden took time during his West Coast trip to address Thursday's September Consumer Price Index report, meaning the report is about the numbers for September, which showed even worse than expected 8.2% inflation last month. They expected high inflation, but they didn't expect it quite that much. And then when you look at that compared year over year, even month over month, it was just really, really bad. More from Fox News' Gernal Scott.
The president, speaking in Los Angeles Thursday, said people know they are still gripped by inflation.
Folks don't need a report to tell them they're being squeezed.
But he insists the numbers are getting better.
Overall, inflation was 2% over the last 3 months. That's down from 11% over the prior 3 months.
Republicans continue to blame President Biden, saying his assessment inflation peaked late last year was wrong. Biden says he remains optimistic, and he'll have more to say on it next week. Gernal Scott, Fox
It's a bold
News.
strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for him.
Yeah, this is okay. Inflation's still going up, but you know what? It didn't go up as much as before, but it's still going up and it's still piling on from what went up before. But that's really progress. It's moving the right direction. Huh?
It's a special kind of stupid that
What?
gets you to that point.
Yeah, Joe says the people don't need to have someone tell them that the prices are up. Well, we also don't need someone to tell you falsely that the prices are going down either, Joe.
Mm-hmm. Or that it's getting better at all.
It's getting better. It's really getting better. Oh my goodness.
Lies.
Liar.
Liar.
This is the area where I actually kind of feel sorry for Karina Jean-Pierre.
Oh gosh, yes.
I mean, honestly, because her job is to go out and sell this, and she's trying to sell the unsellable, and she's also about 10 feet in over her head to try to sell even what is sellable.
The White House spokesman position is, especially for an administration like this one, I think is one of the hardest jobs. Like cognitively, like your brain has to be on steroids in order to be capable of dealing with the spin necessary to make this seem good.
And she always wants to make it perfectly clear. I want to be perfectly clear, and I will get to your answer. I'm going to get to your direct answer here in just a minute, and never does.
By the way, speaking of how hard that job is, it's almost a fraternity, sorority of press secretaries, regardless of Republican, Democrat on there. There's a tradition when a press secretary leaves, there's a gift that's passed down to each new press secretary.
Really?
Yeah, there's a traditional gift.
What's that?
A flak jacket. I'm actually not making that up.
Oh, wow.
That's true. I mean, it is. There is a flak jacket that you pass down, whether it is from a Republican to a Democrat to a Republican. If there's a change during an administration, it used to be, I don't know if it still is, but it was a tradition that the press secretary gifted the flak jacket to the next one.
The flak jacket.
Yeah,
I love it. I love that.
Great.
Yeah, absolutely necessary against a hostile press, although I imagine it's a little less hostile for Democrat.
Yeah, but even they now are being forced
because
to start saying, listen, this doesn't make any sense.
Because the administration is so bad.
They still have to sell their stuff to consumers, and so they don't want to. They're trying to help them spin it the best they can, but there's only so much you can spin right now.
True.
Good court ruling in Cole County Court yesterday on the Missouri side. A Missouri judge rules against some liberal activists who want to repeal the state's voter ID law. I'm not kidding about this. There's an organization that is disingenuously named the Missouri Voter Protection Coalition. They, along with the NAACP, say this was just procedural. We're going to appeal. Well, it wasn't procedural. They filed a lawsuit against the requirement that you show a government-issued photo ID to vote, and the case was dismissed. That's not procedural. I mean, they have the right to appeal, but that wasn't. They said, well, this wasn't ruling on the merits of the case. Well, it was a dismissal of the case. It wasn't a technicality. They dismissed it.
That's called spin, though. I was like, because it was technically a procedure that dismissed the case.
Yeah.
So it's just a procedural.
Secretary of State Jay Ashcroft, in a statement that he made, pointed out that the plaintiffs, once again, this Voter Protection Coalition and the NAACP, they didn't have a single plaintiff. They didn't have a single person who said, I am incapable of getting a photo ID. I will not be able to vote because of this law. They couldn't find a single person in the state.
Because they don't exist.
There's like 3.5 million eligible voters in the state.
Yeah. And the law, built into the law, are provisions to help people who don't have an ID to obtain one.
We'll pay for it.
Like by almost any means necessary, it sounds like, Mike, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. And so the court ruled against the lawsuit. They're going to appeal to Missouri State Supreme Court. Their chances actually might be a little better there. It's a little more center leftist on the state Supreme Court, but I don't see that if they can't find a single person to say this voter ID requirement's going to prevent me from voting. They can't find one person to make that claim. They just want to argue it on concept and theory. I don't know how they think they're going to get anywhere there as well. And again, to couple that with the fact that the Secretary of State's office will do all the legwork and give you a photo ID to vote. There's just no case to be had.
Yes. I mean, you mentioned a test case earlier today where if somebody didn't have their birth certificate or, my 80, 90-year-old grandma's, it's like, the place burned down that had all the records. It's like, hey, they will assign somebody to the case to track down all of the necessary paperwork and get you your photo ID.
And after a certain age, a lot of times what they'll do is they'll just give you one.
Yeah.
I mean, there are people who are born, they're 80, 90 plus years old. They were born at home and there wasn't any documentation. It was like written in a family Bible or something like that.
Right.
And then there are people who don't have those documents, but which is exactly why the state government has said, okay, we will do this because in another 10 years, it's not going to be an issue at all. It's not going to be a factor. But there's not one single person in the state of Missouri who's going to be prevented from voting because they don't have an ID. Not single one. There may be people who will be prevented from voting because they won't go get the free ID that's offered, but that's not our problem. That's a whole different thing.
But what if there could be somebody in the future?
What if it's like, stop with the what ifs.
Yeah.
Basically.
Come up with a scenario and I'm all ears, but it just ain't there. This is pretty scary. FBI and Illinois State Police are warning rideshare drivers about cases, I guess calls or trips or whatever you call it, if they get called to East St. Louis. This is particularly Uber and Lyft drivers. So what's happening since June, there have been 7 carjackings where somebody has created a fake profile and called a rideshare to some location in East St. Louis and then carjacked and robbed the driver and just left him in East St. Louis. One person was actually killed.
So scary.
Yeah, so what the message that is being sent is that if you're an Uber driver or a rideshare driver, you may be thinking twice before you press accept on that alert from East St. Louis. Yeah.
And these Uber drivers, they get notices about each potential customer, right? Like whether they have a good track record, bad track record. They have a star system, don't they?
Yes. Yeah, but it's a fake profile.
It's a fake profile.
So what are you going to do?
So it's like the first one.
So, but I mean, I guess my point is, if it's a new profile, they don't have a lot of
correct
experience with them.
Yeah.
They can just say, "Look, I'll wait until you get some more."
Right. I'm not taking any new rides out of East.
I'm not taking anybody who doesn't have 5 or 10 reviews because this one's gonna be like, "Ooh, 1-star carjacked me." I mean,
yeah.
You know not to take that one. Oh, jeez. All right, just ahead here, the wokeness could not succeed. Superman cannot, not even Superman is strong enough to force wokeness on comic book nerds. So we're going to talk to our comic book nerd in chief, that would be Gabe Pfeiffer, about that right around 8:35 here on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Watch us on our live stream using Rumble, Facebook, and Twitter. Get up. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning. This is News Talk STL at 101.9, 94.1, 99.1 HD3 and NewstalkSTL.com. No big old corporate lib AM station telling us what to say here. Conservative talk for St. Louis. This is News Talk STL at 101.9, 94.1, and always streaming at NewstalkSTL.com.
From the News Talk STL newsroom, I'm Joey Vasovich. The St. Louis County Board of Elections has reported that they're still trying to recruit 100 more Republicans to work the polls in North County during the November election. The job pays around $250 and involves watching a training video, plus getting to the polling place an hour before polls open and staying an hour after polls close. The EPA has fined Midwest Motors in Eureka $15,000 for installing illegal defeat devices in cars. These devices prevent emissions control systems from working in automobiles, which is a violation of the Federal Clean Air Act. The Melville School District canceled classes yesterday after a critical piece of network hardware failed. The district says it interrupted phones, internet, and computers, and it leaves Melville schools without the ability to have virtual learning as well. The St. Louis Industrial Development Authority yesterday approved issuing $17 million in bonds to help finance a private company's effort to refurbish Hillvale apartments in a troubled part of northwest St. Louis. The $34 million effort to overhaul Hillvale, a 146-unit complex at 5830 Selber Court, is supposed to start taking shape when construction begins in January. And in sports, the Blues unveiled the Purina Doghouse yesterday, a new moniker for the away team's penalty box at Enterprise. Whenever the visiting team gets a penalty and is sent to the Purina Doghouse, $100 will be donated to local service and support dog training organizations. For in-depth coverage of these stories and more, go to NewstalkSTL.com.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Traffic Center.
Just one crash reported. It's in Jefferson County, Highway 30 at Bings Way. Everything else looks really good this morning. 64 eastbound, 170 to Big Bend just is a little busy. 270 north was just crowded. Doherty Ferry to Manchester, but that appears to be doing better. 55 north, just busy approaching Gasconade, headed into the work zone this morning. This support sponsored by Blindster. Need new blinds or shades? Blindster.com offers custom-made blinds, shades, and shutters shipped directly to you at prices less than the big box retailers. Blindster blinds, easy to install, they're guaranteed to fit. Don't overpay for new blinds. Shop today and save big at Blindster.com. I'm Joe Sonderman from the News Talk STL Traffic Center.
From the News Talk STL Weather Center.
It's a chilly morning out there under clear skies. Some of the outlying areas could get near freezing, but another windy day on tap with a red flag warning for fire danger. 71 the high under partly cloudy skies. 40s tonight, a cold morning tomorrow again, 65 degrees on Saturday, 67 on Sunday, not as windy over the weekend, and a chance for a widespread freeze early next week across the area. I'm KMOV First Alert meteorologist Kent Earhart.
News Talk STL is proud to have Doug Voss of Safe Money Radio as part of our lineup each week. Doug has been a staple on St. Louis radio for many years as one of the leading financial experts in the area. Doug and Safe Money Radio is on 3 times every weekend, but in case you miss anything, you can check it all out at DougVossSafeMoneyRadio.com or call 844-676-SAFE. That's 844-676-7233. Doug Voss is a registered representative. Securities offered through DHL Securities, LLLP. Member FINRA and SIPC.
Columbo and Katie.
Missouri Secretary of State Jay Ashcroft, would you be able to publicly state for the record that Tony Colombo is your favorite Italian on News Talk STL?
Tony, I love you, but you can't hold a candle to your co-host there.
All right, but am I better than Vic at least? That's all. I want to just be better than Vic Porcelli.
They want to win your mind and your heart over. That's what they want from you, Mr. Secretary.
Tony Colombo, Katie Fitzpatrick. Weekdays at 2 on News Talk STL.
For $1 a day, if any covered appliance breaks in your home, we guarantee to fix or replace it. All makes and models, washers, dryers, refrigerators, air conditioners, and more. Guaranteed to be fixed or replaced for $1 a day. Call the Home Service Club now for free information.
800-399-3701. 800-399-3701. 800-399-3701. That's 800-399-3701.
St. Louis's new choice for conservative talk.
I think they're trying to attack the American people.
Live and local.
Gabe, Mike, Ken, you guys are my morning cup of mental coffee. I love the show. Definitely a convert from the old one.
This is News Talk STL. Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019. Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
All right, let's go into the weekend with a little bit of good news. Mm-hmm. And this is, let me even set this up. This isn't even about they ought to pass a law. No, they shouldn't.
No.
It's not about that. It's just sometimes the wokeness gets so stupid and the intent to use especially something aimed at young people for a woke left-wing agenda, culturally in this case, just as dumb. You love to see the market go, and that's basically what happened. So, I don't know, 5-6 months ago, something like that, we talked about the fact that Superman, who does Superman? Which one is it that does Superman?
DC.
Mm-hmm. So they decide that the new Superman is bisexual.
Yes.
Okay. Other than Superman having a crush on Lois Lane. That's all we ever knew about Superman's sex life. Okay? And we didn't even need that. It was just a story. But say they decided to inject that into the storyline with this new Superman. And the market, liberal, conservative, who cares, part of the market just basically shrugged and went, not interested.
Absolutely.
Now, was that a big political or a cultural statement? No, the market just went, just give us something to enjoy.
I don't like this. It's basically what the market usually says. And this has been going on for a good decade or so in the comic industry. Both Marvel and DC, those are the two major producers of comics. They've been toying with their characters, their legacy characters, basically trying to trade on all the goodwill that they've built up over the years and use that to push various woke agenda stuff, whether it be sort of hardcore feminism or the gay and LGBT stuff.
Well, wasn't this like Superman also like a big like environmental thing? So it's like it's like the market said, "Oh, gay Superman fighting for environmental causes? No, thanks." I mean, is that basically what happened?
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that happens when these stories become a platform for the ideology is the fact that it is a platform for the ideology becomes the story, and those stories aren't interesting. So you have Superman flying around with a mask on during the pandemic.
No.
Oh my God!
No, that did not.
And there is a panel that shows Superman. This version of Superman. Everybody, just so you all know, this is Superman's son.
So a bullet cannot penetrate his skin, but he has to wear a mask.
Superman is immune to all diseases.
Everything.
Like that's part of his power. He's immune
everything
to poison,
but kryptonite, right?
Like only kryptonite can hurt him. That's it. But he wore a mask as a political statement.
Pardon me for a second. You go on. You go
I hurt Mike's feelings.
Ow. 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 Okay.
Oh my gosh. Yes. And yes, that's actually what it made all of the readers feel like, which is why this comic only lasted 13 issues.
And how often is an issue put out? Like a month?
It's monthly.
Once a month?
These are monthly books, yes.
Okay.
And, consider it this way. I think Action Comics or something like that, where Superman debuted and things like that, they were, last I saw, they were at like issue 600 something or other.
Mm-hmm.
So they've been going on for a long time. This comic made it to issue 13, which is kind of a record actually for these woke books, because every time they reintroduce them at a number one to try to bump the numbers, they push some woke agenda bullcrap. Nobody likes it. Nobody likes the stories. Nobody buys it, and then they cancel it, and then they move on to their next thing. It's like, okay, now we're going to make Wonder Woman trans. I don't know.
What?
I don't know.
That might be coming.
That feminist icon Wonder Woman, because nothing stands up for women like somebody who runs around in a bathing suit. I'm not complaining, by the way. I'm just saying Gal Gadot was a great casting for that spot. But I don't know which is like I'm rolling my eyes at harder, the fact that they made Superman part of the rainbow whatever, or the fact that they had him wear a freaking mask during COVID.
For
crud's sake.
It was amazing. It was amazing. And the backlash was well deserved.
Now, see, I agree with you that the market just said, no, I just don't want that. And last night, my wife and I were talking about a really, really funny old skit that was done on Saturday Night Live called The Ambiguously Gay Duo.
Yeah. I remember that.
And I told her, I said, listen to me. If they had a whole show of that, I would love it. It's because it was so funny.
It's hilarious.
It was hilarious. So I got a couple superhero ideas for you, Gabe.
Okay.
The Ambiguously Gay Duo. Let's do a comic strip of that.
There you go.
That was early 90s, I think.
Something like that.
Because I think I was in college when that skit from Saturday Night Live came out. And even the few gay people I knew on campus, because there were a lot of people still in the closet back then, even they were like, okay, that's funny. I mean, they laughed at that.
It was hilarious,
that was really
man.
funny.
Yeah,
or the skit with Adam Sandler and Chris Farley. You remember they would do those fake commercials?
Yes.
At the beginning, and one was for the fake beer, Gay Light beer.
Oh,
you remember that one?
Vaguely remember that
they
one.
They were making fun of like the Budweiser and the Bud Light commercials where you pop open the beer and then all of a sudden everything transforms into a big party. And so these guys are like, well, this house that we're staying at sucks and the pool is empty and slimy water. And then they pop it open and then like all these, ripped dudes in Speedos pop up. And it was really fun.
Dancing to house music.
Yeah, exactly.
There it is. That was back in the day when SNL was allowed to be funny.
Right.
As opposed to it became a platform for political ideology. And that's the thing. All of these leftists, when they get into entertainment now, particularly in entertainment right now, they are trading on the goodwill that they built up over the course of the years generations past, and they're saying, hey, now watch this. And now that's just a platform. That's a stage. It's under their feet, the legacy that they're standing on, and now they want to preach their ideology.
Let me tell you what
it's not, and it's just for a second, the comedy and the talk shows and all that stuff, it's hate talk shows, it's hate comedy, and it's just not funny.
Let me tell you what I think is powerful about this. Because as far as I know, I mean, I'm sure there was some person out there that was like trying to start a boycott or whatever, but I don't sense that there was like a big protest. Just the market simply said, not interested.
Yeah.
That's what I think is the bigger message here. So even if you've got a full-on left-wingy artist meeting or editors or whoever makes these decisions, that they're sitting there and they can't say, boy, the Family Research Council really got us now. Man, I can't believe talk radio drove this product out of business. They just have to look at the market and go, they didn't want what we were offering them.
But you have the guys like in Bros, that movie where it tanked, and he accused everyone else of not accepting it.
Oh, that's right.
So you had him saying the media made that movie flop.
And the
basically.
funny part is that it's not like there haven't been gay media products that straight people have watched and have been incredibly popular. The Birdcage is hilarious. That movie with Nathan Lane and Robin Williams and Hank Azaria, that is freaking hilarious.
Yeah, we talked about that.
Yeah.
As being a good movie. I mean, it was just good.
Yeah, Will and Grace lasted a long time on television.
Yeah.
I mean, so the argument that this is homophobia is no, maybe your product just sucked and people don't like having something forced on them or told that they have a duty to go enjoy amusement.
Yes.
Why do you want to go to this movie? Because you're making a statement. Well, that sounds fun.
It's such an important product, they just say. It's so important, this blah, blah, blah.
Right. Well, they had an extended clip on Twitter of that movie, The Bros, and I watched it. It was like 5 minutes long, and it was just like, nope.
I'm out.
It wasn't funny.
It doesn't look funny, yeah.
It wasn't. I've seen Birdcage. Birdcage was funny.
Birdcage is hilarious.
Yeah. This wasn't. I'm like, okay, well, it's no good.
Right.
That's what happens when the ideology is first and entertainment is second. And that's really where a lot of societies is right now in Hollywood and the places that are supposed to be producing our entertainment. It's ideology first, and we have to call them out on it. And in the meantime, keep our wallets shut to it.
Yeah. And because we only have so many dollars to go around, so my amusement dollars better result in me being amused.
Absolutely.
And I think it's okay to check out from all of the division and anger and hatred and whatever. I mean, you go back to the 80s, and somebody may say, well, you'd never try to, put a gay media product on the air. Well, no, not back then, but Elton John was one of the biggest artists of the decade. He did just fine.
Liberace.
Yeah.
You want to go way back?
Way back.
My mom loved him.
Yeah. I've actually had dinner at his house.
Really?
Yeah. One's supposed to be one of the most haunted buildings in America.
Wow.
Yeah, it's been converted into a restaurant type area. Now, he was long gone by them, or was he?
Bum, bum, bum.
Yes. I can tell you the story just, Ted, if you want to hear it.
Sure.
All right. We'll talk about that. 314-912-1019.
For podcast articles and more, find us on NewstalkSTL.com. Get up. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning. Made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL. From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Traffic Center.
Looks like wherever you're headed this morning, you should have a good run. Westbound 70 at Zumbell. We've got the left lane closed for road work already. Eastbound before Zumbell, there's a one vehicle incident off to the right side. Police are with it. And after the rush hour, a little piece of good news for you drivers in St. Charles. Crews will reopen the westbound 364 exit ramp to eastbound 94 after the morning rush. That ramp has been closed since December of 2021, so that's a little piece of good news you can file away. I'm Joe Sonderman. This report sponsored by USA and Sci-Fi from the News Talk STL Traffic Center.
A new season is here, and with it, major delays being reported due to another killer doll with a shady plan. Just how many Chuckies are there? Chucky is here to chuck stuff up, including our freeways. Chucky Season 2, Wednesdays 9/8 Central, only on USA and Sci-Fi.
Columbo and Katie.
It's going to be a very spooky Friday. At 3:05, we're going to have Julia Gordon-Bramer, our friend and psychic, come in with a Halloween tarot card deck, and maybe she'll do some predictions on this baby.
Weekdays at 2 on News Talk STL.
Are you looking for the cheapest prices on car insurance? Then call the Cheap Car Insurance Hotline right now. Hey, you're guaranteed to save money on your car insurance. Most car insurances can be canceled at any time. That means if you find a better deal, you can switch right away. We're not just one company. We offer most of the major brands of car insurance. We're like a discount supermarket for car insurance. And it doesn't matter if you have a good record or a bad driving record. Our agents are experts at finding you the right car insurance for your needs. Our average customer saves hundreds of dollars a year when they call us to switch. So why don't you make this 100% free call right now and see how much you can save on your car insurance. Paid for by AIS Insurance.
800-721-5741. 800-721-5741. 800-721-5741. That's 800-721-5741.
The candidates.
We're going to win this campaign.
The issues.
Gas prices, Biden inflation.
The election news, analysis, and opinion you won't get anywhere else. Decision 2022 happens.
There's a backlash coming
on News Talk STL. Like us on Facebook at News Talk STL. You're listening to Mike Ferguson in the morning. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, 99.1 HD3 and newstalkstl.com.
We were just, you mentioned Liberace.
Yeah.
And I would say probably one of the first, I mean, he was a classical music pianist, but he was like a pop culture personality.
Yeah, he played
Obviously.
everything,
Yeah,
really.
he had specials on network TV and everything.
He was in Vegas for a long time.
Very long time. The most flamboyant. I mean, today, I don't know if you're going to find somebody as flamboyant as Liberace was. And he was in Vegas for a long time. And it's funny because back in 2008, I think it was, so this was long after Liberace died, they took his house in Las Vegas and they converted it into a restaurant and bar. And in theory, this is supposed to be like one of the top most haunted places in America. I mean, like the Ghost Hunters shows and all those have like done specials there at night.
Kind of camped out.
Right.
Done the whole thing.
And I was working for former Congressman Bob Barr back in 2008 when he was running for president. I was his national field director. And we had a stop in Las Vegas, and we were there for like 4 days or something because there was a conference there that we needed to be at, and Bob was making multiple appearances at. But one of the nights that we were there, we did a fundraising dinner at that restaurant. And I'm trying to remember what the name of it is. It's a really Italian name. And it was Bob Barr, and the vice presidential pick of the Libertarian Party was Wayne Allen Root, who now is on Newsmax. He's got a Newsmax television show now.
Yeah.
And so Wayne and Bob were both there, and we were holding it in his piano room, in Liberace's piano room.
Wow.
I mean, there's a full bar in there, which I guess he designed, which is shaped like a grand piano.
Oh, that's
so if you were
awesome.
to look, if you were to look down at a grand piano with the curve and all, that's the way the bar is shaped. And Liberace's personal private piano was still there.
Was it the glass lined one?
Yeah, they've got a big plexiglass cover over it, so you can't actually you
can't
know,
touch
touch
it, yeah.
But it's right.
No, I mean,
there.
what is it made of, though? What's the piano itself made of? Because I know his pianos were really, really flamboyant,
Yes.
like he was.
It was, and I remember it was a bright color. It wasn't a typical like black grand piano. I don't know because you couldn't. I mean, you could get to within a foot of it or so, but you really couldn't tell through that plexiglass cover. It was a big box, big cube that was over it. And so we're having this fundraising dinner, and I thought it was funny because you've got Bob Barr, who was in Congress when they passed the Defense of Marriage Act,
Right.
raising money in Liberace's personal piano room that had been converted to a and Bob Barr ended up being far more libertarian on a lot of that stuff than he was back in the Clinton era. But so I was actually there. No, we did not experience anything strange that happened at that time, but it was quite the place. It was, you know, the food was excellent. It really was.
Yeah.
But it was something else. Let's put it that way. It was something else.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah.
Now you mentioned the haunting. You mentioned that the ghostliness. Now, did you experience anything? Okay.
Nothing. Because I was talking to the bartender, and I said, "Hey, didn't I just see this on like Ghost Hunters, like one of those shows?" She goes, "Yeah. This is like the third, fourth most haunted place in America." And I'm like, "Oh, so I'm going to experience something?" Nothing at all. Not even a rattling wine glass from the thing. Nothing. I mean, I just food over-delivered, the haunting under-delivered.
Okay, all
I'm
right.
just saying.
And nobody was around to deliver any stories. It's like, oh yeah, when I was here last time.
Yeah, there was a couple of those.
Okay.
I mean, but he had been gone so long at that point that there was just like one or two people who actually remembered him, and that was late and things. So not a whole lot. But the place had a cool vibe to it.
Oh, cool.
Cool vibe to it.
That's awesome.
What's up, Vic?
I first learned about Liberace through Warner Brothers cartoons. They
Right.
always had a caricature of him, and he would always say, "I wish my brother George was here."
yeah, that's true.
My mom loved him so much.
Yeah, who didn't? And that generation, who didn't? But the Superman thing?
Oh, yeah.
I can't take credit for this. I'd love to, but I got to give credit to Rob Schneider, who was on Gutfeld the other night, and they were talking about this, and he says Superman's new kryptonite is a vagina.
Oh, nice.
Oh.
Can't take credit, but boy, what a great joke.
Oh,
That's pretty good.
Oh, wow.
That's pretty real. That's real comedy there.
And more and more Saturday Night Live alum are coming out as conservatives,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Dennis Miller, Victoria Jackson, Rob Schneider, Jim Brewer. You know, it's kind of cool. What did they have to go through being on that show?
Oh, my God.
Conservatives.
Yeah.
Closet conservatives.
I would love. I mean, you get that group together. They could produce a show that could knock SNL right off TV.
Absolutely.
dude.
The conservative guys?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Look at Gutfeld.
Yeah. I mean, holy crap. I mean, like you mentioned that a good number. I'm like, well, why don't they do that?
Yeah.
Like, come on.
Dennis Miller had his own show on Fox Network, radio show on Fox Network for a long time.
Does Miller still have his radio show?
No.
Yeah, because he did pretty well with that.
He
for a
did
while.
great. It was on Saturday nights, like 7 o'clock or something like that. And I just listened to it.
Oh,
all
that
the
would
time.
explain why it didn't last forever.
Well, what are you going to do?
Oh, man. Yeah, now the catch is you got to find somebody to pay for that, and Kevin Sorbo only has so much money.
Yeah, exactly.
Kevin Sorbo, bless his heart, I love that.
Maybe the Daily Wire, the Blaze, or somebody will start getting into that space.
Daily Wire, yeah.
Yeah,
Now-
they just need a little more money.
Gutfeld is mopping up the late night ratings.
Absolutely.
I mean, if that's not a market signal that the Hollywood elites just absolutely refuse to recognize, I don't know what
And they will never recognize
Yeah, and
him. Never.
Gutfeld's been kicking their ass for how long? I
Yeah.
mean, months.
Yep. Yep.
This isn't like a spike because he had a big guest on. He's just funnier, and he's delivering something that people want, and the others just aren't.
Imagine that, entertaining people.
Yeah.
I
And
mean,
so-
you can be. He's teaching you that you can be political and funny at the same time.
Yes.
Because first of all, he'll knock both parties.
Yes.
And second of all, he's figured out a way to tell these jokes. He's an incredibly good comedy writer, you know. So I think he's great to watch him every night.
And if you say that can only happen on the conservative side, I would say look at Bill Maher. I mean, a staunch liberal, but he's hilarious because he will knock his own side, and he'll knock our side too.
No, yeah.
But he is truly funny, and at least he's thought provoking.
He's said some things lately I can't even believe it come out of his mouth. Good enough,
Yes.
we'll take it.
Yeah,
well,
all right.
and the good part is because he's among those who has just said enough is enough. You know, he's a big government guy. He's a liberal, but he says you've gone nuts. You know, how can we expand social welfare state while you're out there talking about giving hormones to third graders? I mean, he's just absolutely devastating because he's among probably a growing number of liberals who are saying, whoa, pump the brakes here, people. This is insane. We're not on board with that. But they've been told by the fringe, you're on board with us or you're not with us at all. And so I think a growing number of people are saying, yeah, I got to look myself in the mirror at the end of the day. I'm not on board with you.
You know what? I'm taking him in right now, and yeah, he's right. Yeah, he's right. I'm not saying he's a conservative,
Right,
But
yes.
you know, and I didn't like him for so long because he was on Jay Leno one night. I don't remember why he was standing next to an elephant, but he's trying to get on the elephant. He goes, oh, now I know what Larry Fortensky feels like, who was married to Elizabeth Taylor at the time.
Oh.
So he was calling Elizabeth Taylor a fat elephant.
Wow.
I didn't like that. I just didn't like that.
A little too far.
Just so you guys know, Gutfeld, he averages 2 million viewers a night, and the next closest one is Colbert with 1.867, which is down. Fallon 1.4. This is on network television, by the way.
Yeah.
And then Kimmel's 1.3. Kimmel used to get 2.2 million average viewers. He's down to 1.3.
Kimmel is just an angry dude.
It's all angry comedy, I think.
I mean,
Yeah, well,
there's
it's just angry rants. I'm not sure
Yeah.
there's any left, any iota of comedy left. I think I haven't seen anything funny in his monologues in a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've stopped watching him a long time because one of the things I will watch him and I'm not going to lose my shirt over somebody making fun of a conservative. If everybody's fair game, I'm fine with it.
Sure.
Kimmel's just hateful.
It's just hateful. It's bad comedy.
And that's you're right. I'm not going to be the Karen who goes and boycotts you. I just don't find it funny. At the end of the night, I want something funny.
And the left should remember he was trying to get women to put their hands down
Yeah.
his pants
Oh,
on
yeah.
the Man Show.
The Man
Oh,
Show.
the Man Show. That's right. Which ended every show with women on trampolines.
That's right.
Yeah, exactly right.
This show.
Coming up, Vic.
Jay Ashcroft joins us at 9:41. We have that Hunter laptop document that 51 intelligence officers signed. We'll dig into that.
There you go. And Jay Ashcroft, big win in court yesterday.
That's right.
Hey folks, here's great news for active aging seniors. The Kanega Watch, the only medical alert smartwatch with built-in fall detection. Yeah, the Kanega Watch is much different than the other guys. It's a stylish, discreet watch you can wear all the time. Get help through the watch in one of 3 ways. Your voice, pushing the watch's alert button, or have the fall detection connect you to a US-based 24/7 monitoring center who'll speak to you through your watch and can send help to your GPS location nationwide. And get this, it can do that even if you're not responsive. This is true 24/7 peace of mind for you and those that love you. Order your Canega watch with a full refund 30-day trial period. Call now, 800-413-7152. 800-413-7152. 800-413-7152. That's 800-413-7152.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNVS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at NewstalkSTL.com.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. We may hear from former President Trump later today. He may have something to say about the Democrat-controlled January 6 committee issuing a subpoena for his testimony. Mr. Trump in the past has derided the committee as a group of political hacks and thugs. The Supreme Court rejecting the former president's plea to step into the legal fight over the FBI search of his Florida estate.
Without comment, justices turned away Donald Trump's emergency appeal. He had pressed the high court to overturn a lower court ruling and permit a special master to review the roughly 100 documents with classified markings that were seized by the FBI at Mar-a-Lago. Earlier this week, the Justice Department said in a Supreme Court filing that the former president's request had no merit. Greg Clugston, Washington.
Raleigh, North Carolina's mayor says something has to be done about the rising tide of violence in America. This after a shooting left 5 people, including an off-duty police officer, dead.
Raleigh Mayor Mary Ann Baldwin said that multiple people were shot on the Neuse River Greenway around 5 p.m. Police closed off several streets in the area, and numerous law enforcement vehicles could be seen parked on the street and in driveways. The neighborhood borders the Neuse River Greenway Trail and is about 9 miles from Raleigh's downtown.
Correspondent Norman Hall says the suspect, described by police as a 15-year-old male, is in custody. He is in fact hospitalized in critical condition. No word on how he was injured. With household budgets strained to the breaking point by 40-year high inflation, Americans held the purse strings tight last month. Retail sales were flat from the month before. It's a concern because consumer spending plays such a big role in the health of the U.S. economy. The Dow is up 180 points. More on these stories at townhall.com.
These are tough times for everyone, so dealing with your timeshare may not be your biggest concern. But when this passes, do you still want a lifetime of payments, fees, and commitments for a timeshare you were misled into buying?
Hi, I'm Chuck McDowell, CEO and founder of Wesley Financial Group. 10 years ago, I started the timeshare cancellation industry by exposing the ugly truth about timeshares and giving folks the straight facts. I've been fighting the time